So we do what's Hondo on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting flip screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle rhyme. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Check. How about now? Dude, OBS completely changed my mic settings. Okay, well, no. My PC updated last night, and I guess it completely removed my mic setting. There we go. Alright, we're back. Yeah, can promise you guys, the mic wasn't muted. I thought y'all were fucking with me. I said I muted, and I'm looking at my mic. I'm like, no, it's not. My mic is totally up. Alright, no, my PC updated last night. I didn't check my mic settings. They got altered. That's good to know. So, good. Thanks, Emil. Let's try this again. Welcome back to the lunch hour. How are all you Vital Idols doing? We've got a hell of a show for you today. We're going to be streaming for about 2.5 hours, so we got some shit to do today. But let's see. We got Dylan B up in this house. Sexy Sonia. Sleeping Nova is here. Draconic. Clip 420. Nicholas Pattinson is here. Michael Vargas. We got Serranos. Perfect start to the stream. Wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, dude. You would think I would know better by now. Hey, PC update overnight. Check all your stream settings. Didn't check whatsoever. Okay, I never learn. Jamalama is here. What is up? Mass Hysteria is up with this bitch. Feeling better, Leon. Got sick yesterday. Led to a bucket friend. Oh yeah, been there. That's rough. That sucks. Alrighty, crew. Alright, let's get right into it. Before we get into any of the topics that are, listed in the thumbnail, let's start with an appetizer. Because the White House posted this. The White House posted this at 10:30 in the morning, and guys, it's a thing of beauty. Operation Epic Fury. Bro, with Nintendo throwing a bitch fit about, like the tariffs and suing, not only is this great for doubling down on Operation Fury, but like also as a fuck you to Nintendo, this is Great.
10. It's out of the park. Down.
This is turning into a Pikachu slap fight, Leon. Dude, it's great, isn't it? Like the level of trolling. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, dude. The level of trolling from the U.S. government, it has become an art. Whoever they have as the social media manager for the White House is just murdering, bro.
Slam dunk.
They're well edited. It's not like the editing's difficult, but it's well edited. You got that nice Nintendo, that Nintendo Fruger Arrow music vibe. It's art, bro. It's art. You love to see it. I figured that has got to be the best way to start the stream. Way better than start the stream muted. Start the stream with the destruction of all these commie bastards. I know they're not actually communists, whatever, it doesn't matter. All these commie bastards that the White House be taking out. God, you shouldn't be getting your news from the White House. You should be 100% against this war. It's not going well. Love you, Leon, but I'm out. Hey, you can be out all you want. You can be out all you want. I don't give a fuck about this war. I find blowing Muslim sky high to be hilarious and based. I couldn't care less. If you got questions about the war, talk to Jana when her family is from Iran. See how she feels about it. That being said, that's what we're going to talk about first out. Mehdi Hasan crashing out. You'll love to see it. I got 5 seconds into this and thought, nope, save it for stream.
The now dead Ayatollah Khomeini, the older Khomeini, is no longer ruling Iran.
Notice how long it took him to answer? Like, this is why I decided, nope, gotta save it for stream. Gotta save it for stream. Piers Morgan asks him, so, are you happy that the Ayatollah is gone? And Mehdi Hasan just freezes for like 5 seconds. No, Iranian. Iranian. I didn't say Iran.
It's a good question. I don't take pleasure in killing anyone. I don't think you should.
You should. You absolutely should take pleasure in killing certain people. What about child rapists? What about people that are mass murderers? You absolutely should take pleasure in killing certain people. This is the type of, like, Marvel Comics level morality that destroys societies.
Calling it Marvel Comics level morality is actually kind of brilliant because and it kind of harkens back to what we were talking about on Mike Hollow's stream yesterday, which was a great stream. Highly recommend you guys check it out. We had a blast over there. With so many folk getting their morality and their opinions from, fiction. Don't get me wrong, it's great. The hero's journey is a real thing. These black and white hero stories that teach us about. There's a reason that this has been a tried and true art form that dates all the way back to the Sumerians, the Romans, the Greeks nowadays. But they are still idealist, and it's not the way the real world operates.
You absolutely should. Like, this isn't even a question. Like, duh.
Legally killed the leader, a foreign leader of a nation.
What is this?
It's a good question. I don't take pleasure in killing anyone. I don't think you should have illegally killed.
Illegally kill him. Well, what if...
What about the killings that he perpetrated on over 30,000 of his own people? That's the question. Like, oh man, we illegally killed one guy who systematically murdered 3,000 of his own people for protesting him.
If it was illegal? Like, why does it even matter if it's legal?
The leader, a foreign leader of a nation.
Why? Why? What is the reason why?
So, by the way, a spiritual leader to millions of Shia Muslims around the world.
Good. Your
Couldn't care
religion's
less.
dead.
He wasn't my spiritual leader, but he's a spiritual leader to many people I know, and that's a.
And what does that matter? Give me one fucking reason why him being a spiritual leader fucking matters.
Reality. I know people watching at home, non-Muslims, may kind of scratch their heads and say, but he's a tyrant in a foreign country. But that is the reality. He wasn't just a political ruler.
What about the Pope? What happened to the Pope? Don't give a fuck. If the Pope were out there systematically murdering 30,000 Catholics for protesting against him and we opted to kill the Pope, would not give a fuck.
He was a spiritual ruler. And to kill him, to assassinate him on day one of the war, will have insane consequences, Piers. I hope I'm not back on this show in a year, 2 years, 3 years saying to you, Piers, do you remember when I told you that killing Khomeini will have a backlash? There will be...
You won't be. You will not be back here in 2 or 3 years saying this. Or if you are, you will be spinning a fucking narrative. Because that's all Mehdi Hasan does, is spin bullshit, anti-American, Nazi propaganda, the Jews cause everything narratives.
Terrorism, there will be revenge attacks.
I don't see how this is an excuse to not kill Khomeini. If anything, this is an excuse to go even harder on them. If what he's saying is that they have a leader and this leader encourages and promotes and funds terrorism all across the entire world, but if you attack him, then they're going to completely terrorize you. My response to that would be, then we should get rid of every single one of the people that does that exists.
And what would be the downside? What would be the downside? What up, IB the EB?
Single person who is part of any organization that thinks that they are aligned with a leader that is a mass murderer should be exterminated. It's not even a question. These are literal killers. These are like the people that were guarding Auschwitz in the Holocaust.
No, they're absolutely worse. It's worse than the Holocaust.
They literally are the same people. Well, not literally, but basically are the same people. It's nuts.
Symbolically.
Like, how do we not come to that conclusion immediately?
Drop it in the Discord if you can, Matt. Because I'm pressed for time on this stream, because we've only got 2.5 hours, give or take, to get through everything. I probably can't do it on this stream, but I would definitely check it out. I would love to hear it. Thank you. I would absolutely love to hear it.
I hope that doesn't happen, but it could happen. It might likely happen. US intelligence is suggesting it might happen. The blowback from killing a foreign head of state, from killing an ayatollah, a religious leader, in this way, in this blasé way. By the way, Piers, they also killed the people he wanted to succeed, Khamenei. They're so incompetent. Trump now admits that in the next door building, they accidentally also killed the people they wanted to be their Delcy Rodriguez in Iran. So no,
I don't think I didn't hear them saying that.
I'm never going to support assassinating foreign leaders.
Nah, you're a great guy.
Leaders. So, you know, Colonel Gaddafi was raped and murdered on the side of a street in Libya. Is Libya better off without him? Well, A, not sure about that. B,
I don't think we should have killed Gaddafi either. I thought Gaddafi was great.
Obviously, I don't shed any tears for Gaddafi, but that is not what you do. I'm never going to support the killing of anybody outside of a trial.
Well, what about Hitler, right? I mean, would you support killing Hitler?
Yeah, so Mehdi Hasan right now is trying to play a moral high ground game. He's virtue signaling because this particular killing goes against his agenda. That's all it is. If this were a killing that were within his agenda, if this was, let's say it was Netanyahu, right? Let's say that it was Netanyahu. He would not be morally grandstanding like this. He might not be outright celebrating it because he sells an image, but he wouldn't be morally grandstanding like this either.
This is the problem, is like, again, this is like Marvel movie ideology, Marvel movie morality. Obviously, you should support the killing of a person who is a mass murderer. Of course. Hitler's the head of state too? Yeah, exactly. It's just like, this ideology is so retarded.
Side of due process.
Kill them, just don't rejoice? Why should you not rejoice? It's a relief for millions around the world that they're not under the thumb of a terrorist. Like, this is performative morality. It's performative, short-sighted morality.
If it was the Pope, that's what I said earlier. I don't know if you were in or not, Dizel Jizz, but like what I said earlier in the stream was that if the Pope were systematically murdered 30,000 of his own Catholic followers that were like protesting against him because they didn't like the way he was running shit, bomb that fucking Pope. I don't give a damn, son.
It's meant to have clicks and different, you know.
And exactly, Vagabond. Same folks complaining about this were celebrating when Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Oh, approval on Twitter? No, this person is awful. They've caused the torture, the terrorism, the fear of millions of people. Yeah, you should be happy that it's over. It's a utopian Marvel mindset. It's embarrassing. Spiritual leader? Well, yeah. I mean, if you have a spiritual ideology that involves, and also,
Yeah, any spiritual ideology that involves it being okay to marry off 9-year-old girls is not a spiritual ideology that I'm a-okay with existing to begin with.
Every Shia Muslim doesn't agree with what the Ayatollah does. It's such a intentional misunderstanding.
I wouldn't call it misunderstanding. I mean, I know he said intentional, but it's intentionally misleading people is what it is.
And, you know, it's for the Iranian people to decide their future. If the Iranian people...
Yeah, okay, yes, it is for the Iranian people to decide their future. And the Iranian people attempted to decide by protesting and by rioting and by trying to overthrow a government where they didn't have the resources to do it. The Iranian people were begging for our assistance. And it still took us months to actually commit to it. They were begging for U.S. intervention. 30,000 of them murdered because they did not have the resources as a civilian-level populace to rise up against that government.
People want to get rid of Khamenei. It was up to the Iranian people, not up to Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And by the way, what a great regime change war this.
There you go. Couldn't go with a few minutes without throwing in Netanyahu's name in there. Like, did the Israeli government do anything? Like, I get it. They probably did because, you know, they control the U.S. But in all reality, this was a Trump admin thing. Why even bring up Netanyahu?
They replaced Ayatollah Khamenei with Ayatollah Khamenei. That's real high-level success.
All right, then just bomb Ayatollah number 2. Bomb him again. Yeah, give a fuck. Bomb him again.
In your regime change war, his son apparently is more hardline, we're told, than his father. And why would?
All right. Time for Operation Epic Fury 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Wouldn't he be? They just killed his mum, his dad, I think his wife as well, his sister. It's not a guy who's going to do a deal anytime soon to roll over for Donald Trump. So strategically...
We'll eventually just keep doing it until they find somebody that gets a deal, right?
Bingo, bango, bongo.
It's a disaster. And legally and morally, no, you can't just kill people you don't like. Am I going to...
Yeah, you absolutely can. Like, what are you talking about? What? Of course you can. Why not? Like this...
Yeah, call me insensitive, call me Islamophobic. I'm not gonna take cues on morality from a Muslim. Sorry, I'm not.
This is the
I don't care how nice your tie is, you're wearing a suit, you're so civilized. You don't get to talk about morality.
Again, this is the Marvel movie mentality. Why aren't you saying this about the Ayatollah? Why aren't you saying that you can't just kill people that you don't like to the IRGC? Because I wonder who's... Guess what?
Was that before, after he saw the U.S. wipe out Iranian leadership? That's what he's referring to, is that he's throwing a bitch fit about the U.S. wiping out Iranian leadership. He's, oh, it's morally wrong. Oh, it was illegal. Oh, you can't just go in there and do it. I don't know. All the thousands upon thousands of Iranians cheering in the streets seems big to differ.
I wonder in the last year, who's killed more Iranians? America or the IRGC? Israel or the...
Hasan has to go. Helicopter ride. And you know what's funny? Whether you be talking about Mehdi Hasan, whether you be talking about Hasan Piker, free helicopter rides for anyone with Hasan in their name. Like, y'all want communism, right? You want your free shit? Let's do it. Communism wins. Free helicopter rides, especially if your name is Hasan.
IRGC. It's obvious. This guy is running more defense for Muslim terrorism. This is what he does. He's been doing this for years. I don't know why people keep having him on a show. He will always fall off on the side of defending Muslim terrorism. He does it every single time.
And what's funny is he can pass that off as, I'm not defending Muslim terrorism. I'm defending anti-Semitism. I'm just demanding hating the Jews. I'm defending hating Israel. Which again, you know, your boy here ain't got no fucking love for Israel. But let's not pretend that like that reasoning, that rationale is any different or any good cover for I'm pro terrorism, which is what it is.
That's it. Iranian people should march in a literal machine gun fire and die pointlessly and fail to overtake a country that oppresses them. That's because he doesn't want them to do that. He probably supports this privately, but he can't say that publicly. So if you're saying you can't just kill people you disagree with, where was your outrage for the months that the Iranian government was killing its own people?
Did I not say the same thing about 5 fucking minutes ago?
You don't actually believe any of the stuff that you're saying.
But, you know,
is he Shia or Sunni? I assume he's Sunni because he said that the Ayatollah was a Shia spiritual leader and it wasn't his spiritual leader. So I assume he's Sunni. I'm unapologetically America only, and I see this as a net positive. Exactly, Tomahawk. Exactly.
I don't like Benjamin Netanyahu, Piers. Maybe you've noticed so for the last 2 years, but I don't.
You don't say. Guess what? Neither do I. Brian out here capping for a fucking Islamist terrorist regime because of my dislike of fucking Israel and Netanyahu.
I don't support anyone assassinating him.
Yeah, but I think that if somebody ever did assassinate Benjamin Netanyahu, this guy would be probably posting something that, you know, just like kind of passively said that it was a good thing.
Sorry, Asmongold, I keep beating you to the punch. And once again, I said the same thing already. Guys, today I'm beating him.
That's probably what he would do. That's what I think he would do.
My actual question, it was brilliantly deflected. My actual question was, are you...
It wasn't brilliantly deflected. It was deflected. It wasn't brilliantly deflected. But then again, you know, we know what the IQs are like for these folk.
Pleased that he's no longer ruling Iran?
Yes.
Well, I don't support the Vilayat-e-Faqih, what is called the Islamic system of rule in Iran. So I don't support any ayatollahs being in charge of Iran. In Iraq, for example, you have an ayatollah named Sistani, who the Americans have worked with for a long time. He's the spiritual leader of a lot of Iraq Shias and a lot of Shias around the world.
He's trying to draw a distinction as if this is a religious thing. It doesn't matter whether it's a religious thing or not. So being Shia Islam or not, it doesn't have anything to do with killing innocent people. Like, is the guy in Iraq doing the same thing that the Ayatollah in Iraq?
And yeah, Jack, I would also like to see, I've said it a million times and I'll continue to say it. As far as the Middle East goes, I could not give a fuck if they glass each other. Glass each other till the cows come home, I don't care. But that being said, I don't really care if we be dropping bombs either. Now, it'll be different if we put boots on the ground. If we put boots on the ground, I will have a different opinion. But until then, we just shooting missiles? Nah, son, don't give a fuck.
Iran is? Probably not. So to just say that every Ayatollah is the same is just, it's another intentional misunderstanding.
What up, Zax?
He's never taken executive authority. He's never said, I'm going to be in charge of Iraq.
Yes.
He sits in his house and he gives his religious rulings. I prefer that system of government. So in a sense, are you asking me, do I hope that, you know, do I want ayatollahs to rule Iran? No, I don't. I'm on the record supporting a democratic system. But I don't support killing people. No, I don't.
No, I wasn't asking if you supported killing him. I just was asking if you're pleased he's no longer ruling the country.
It's a loaded question because
it's not a loaded question. You want to give loaded answers or deflected answers, but it's not a loaded question. Regardless of how and why he is no longer ruling the country, the fact is he is no longer ruling the country. Are you happy about that? It's not loaded whatsoever. You're just unable to answer a simple question. I'm curious, Mehdi. I'm curious. How'd you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning? I don't eat bacon. It's not what I asked, bitch.
son is leading the country. So am I pleased with that? No, I'm not pleased with his son leading the country. It's not a question you can answer in a vacuum, can you, Piers?
Well, no, so if you're not pleased with the son ruling.
See, this is what I was saying before about how you cannot engage in a civil, rational conversation with a person like this that does not value any degree of civil discourse. This person doesn't care about logic, rationality, or any sort of, like, you know, rational thinking. What they care about is pushing their ideology.
No, that's not true. He does care about rational thinking as a concept. He cares about the optics of rational thinking, because if he can come off as the rational guy in a sea of Islamophobia, then he can convince Piers viewers and the viewers around the world that he is the morally correct one. That's why he takes this moral high ground. So he does care about rational thinking. He's just awful at actually employing it in this conversation with Piers. Piers has only asked one question this whole time. Asked one simple question. We are nearly 9 minutes in. Piers has repeated the question once, so the question's been asked twice, and dude cannot answer it.
Through a Trojan horse of a perceived ideology of, like, rationality.
Exactly, Dizel Jizz. The appearance of being rational. Correct.
Both of them? Yeah, you never engage with
Bingo.
people like this. It's a mistake.
Zach's, yeah, every Hasan sucks. We covered that too a little bit earlier. Every Hasan sucks.
To even try to engage with them. They're not in good faith at all.
Country.
Please. Well, are you pleased that Saddam Hussein? Are you pleased that Saddam Hussein is not ruling Iraq?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Like, duh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so fucking easy. That's the difference. There it is. Yes. Obviously. Duh. Of course. Obviously.
But you oppose that war like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how it's not mutually exclusive? See how it's not mutually exclusive? Oh, I oppose the war. Great. Doesn't mean you want the guy in charge. You can oppose the war and not want the guy in charge. I literally just said if there's boots on the ground in Iran, I will have issues with that. But until then, I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
The two things are
So you can hold
perfectly
multiple positions at one time.
Yeah. Duh.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Apparently not agreed because you can't say the guy, you're glad he's dead.
No
But I'm
problem
saying-
saying that you're
No. Hold on. Not glad he's dead. Remember, Asmongold, that's not the question Piers asked. Piers asked, are you glad he is no longer leading Iran? So the guy doesn't even need to say he's glad he's dead. He just has to agree he's glad he's not leading anymore.
I'm agreeing with you.
You could easily.
Yes.
So well, you've agreed. You've now said that you're pleased the son. You're not pleased the son is running the country. Is that what you
Yes.
said?
You're breaking that moment. I will right after this.
No, I'm not.
Great, then let's bomb him too. You're not pleased the son's running the country? I got a solution for that. Bomb him too.
Ah.
Not at all. I've said that publicly.
But so does it automatically
and he's only
follow
ruling,
you?
and he's only ruling the country. Hold on. He's only ruling the country because we killed the leader before.
We did. And we did a great job. Let's do it again. I like sequels that are better than the original. Give us the Empire Strikes Back of the Ayatollah, baby.
Him, his dad.
Yes.
I understand that, but I'm just trying to work.
I think the solution is we should kill.
How about the Return of the Jedi? Because in the Empire, the bad guys win. That was a bad way to phrase it. Give us the Return of the Jedi of the Ayatollah, baby.
Him too. That would be my mindset.
Nah, the son won't play ball. Son won't play ball, Richlow.
If, like, this guy's also really bad, then logically we should go after him too. I mean, I don't see, like, what is this? Like, why wouldn't we do this?
Out by natural
I'm
process
surprised we
of
haven't.
elimination,
I think
you
that maybe
must
we have.
therefore de facto be pleased that the dead Ayatollah is no longer ruling the country.
Am I pleased he's not ruling the country? It's
Yeah.
a question in vacuum. So does that mean I'm pleased with his son ruling the country? Because
Yes.
it says weird.
You might not
doctrine.
No, the question would be then, are you pleased his son is ruling the country? This dude is retarded.
Survive his injuries.
No,
He
no,
lost a
I'll
leg
ask
in a
you
few
about it.
I don't want
weeks.
to say
I'll ask
yes
you
to
about
that
him.
because
A
that
lot of
implies
misinformation
that I'm
about
okay
that.
with the fallout from it, which I'm not. But I have made my position clear. I don't.
He's clearly okay with the outcomes because you had no problem ignoring the Iranian people getting killed for weeks, and now
Chris Jericho is next in line to rule Iran. Israel, you just made the list.
you're trying to talk about you're upset about the fallout. I don't think so.
Serranos, is there really a distinction?
If you're so upset about it, then why are you not upset about them killing their own people and turning off the internet?
think any Ayatollah should be running Iran. That's not my political or religious viewpoint.
Yes.
What up, Netflix?
So it sounds
But I
like
don't
a
think
yes.
you should kill them in order to get rid of them. But I don't think you should kill Ayatollahs in order to get rid of
Of
them.
course you should. Like, I mean, obviously you should. It's not even a question.
I didn't ask you.
ridiculous thing to say.
I didn't ask you about. I didn't ask you if you supported killing. I just said, are you pleased he's no longer ruling the country? Sounds like you are, but
Yep.
you're just very reluctant to use the word yes.
Yeah, because I have to think through the consequences of what I'm
Jesus.
saying, Piers. It's good.
No, you don't. No, there aren't going to be consequences for what you're saying. Well, okay, so there are going to be consequences for what you're saying. That's true. You have to think through the consequences of what if I lose my radical Islamist and leftist anti-Semitic base by answering these questions.
Good for you to ask a great question in a vacuum, but if I say yes to that,
Sup, Leon? Good show on the Mike Hollow podcast yesterday. The folks were saying in chat they want you on there more. Dude, that is, Mike actually said the same thing. He sent me a message this morning. He was like, hey, folks said they want you back. I was like, that's awesome. I had a blast. I thought it was a great show. Like, in my opinion, the conversation was great. The discussion was great. But yeah, I had an absolute blast on the show yesterday. Mike has been on my show multiple times. It was my first time on his. Yeah, I've known Mike for a minute now. Dude, like probably a year and a half or so. He's a great guy. I think Mike is excellent.
That question. Does that mean I'm supporting what Trump and Netanyahu did? No.
I don't think any of that follows. You could just say yes or no.
And I don't take pleasure in killing people without trials. If
Mehdi Hasan will always find ways to obfuscate Islamic terrorism. And I think that you guys can take this to the bank. Every single time that there is an Islamic terrorist, he will come out, downplay it, obfuscate.
And that C4 guy who he had as the opposition debate, as the opposition debater, C4 was great too. Obviously, he and I heavily disagreed, but he was a very good debater. He was very rational. He was very calm. He brought up, I don't know if I would call them logically consistent points, but he was able to argue them very well, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I like C4 a lot as well.
It, make it harder to understand, and the reason why is he's doing it for a religious and ethnic reason. That is the reason. He identifies with them, he sees them as the end group, and he sees everybody else as not the end group.
Yo, what up, C4? Nice to see you here, homie.
Now, he'll come out publicly and say, I don't like terrorism, sure, but whenever it comes time to condemn these people or to take action against getting rid of groups of these people, he will always cast doubt on those actions because actually he doesn't really mind it that much.
It's not about whether or not he minds it that much. It is because once you get to this level of people knowing you in your social circles, you've got a social following, you're a political pundit, you inherently become audience captured. Like, regardless of what his private policies are, whether he's for it, whether he's against it, is completely irrelevant. He already said earlier, he has to think through the consequences of his wording. Because even if he hypothetically agrees with with what Piers is asking or what Piers is saying, he could ruin his base by answering the question in a way that is logically correct, but motherfuckers that follow him and support him, sponsors or the people that give him jobs, people that give him his press pundit positions, whatnot, will drop him.
Because he's ideologically aligned with these terrorists. That's it. That's the real reason.
If Ayatollah Khamenei did something wrong, the Iranians should have tried him. The Iranians should have tried him.
Wasn't the question.
They should have tried him.
That wasn't my question. I didn't ask if you were pleased to get killed.
It was just a question about my feelings.
Asked you, are you pleased?
They should have tried him. He should have gone to court.
I just asked.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with Maduro. Maduro was captured and brought up on charges. Seems like when we can capture, we will. But again, dude was systematically murdering over 30,000 of his own people. That's not even to get into all the funding of the global Islamic terrorism that's coming out of Iran. Sorry, sometimes you just can't let a motherfucker live. As Miguel keeps saying, it's Marvel morality. It's Marvel morality. No, this is Batman morality, which is even, well, it's a rejection of Batman morality. Batman's retarded. Let's be real. Batman letting the Joker live is retarded. Joker, he catches him, puts him in Arkham, Joker breaks out, kills more people, Batman catches him, puts him in Arkham, and the vicious cycle fucking continues. Because Batman can't kill the Joker. And it's obviously an objective net positive if Batman kills the Joker. There is no downside to it. That's what we did. We killed the Joker.
Are you pleased he's no longer ruling the country? It's a yes or no. You either are or you're not.
Yes.
I'm no, because I can't. No, it's not. No.
Yeah. Yu Yu Hakusho is fantastic. If y'all want my thoughts on the Yu Yu Hakusho, watch the Yu Yu Hakusho Bleach Death Battle, because I go into a diatribe about just how much I love Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes. It's not as simple as that. I know you've now latched on to
it. Actually,
you're correct, Mr. Richlow. The non-Shia Muslim countries don't like the Iranian leadership. No, the nearly every single Sunni Muslim country in the surrounding area not only agreed with the U.S.'s actions, but actively gave aid to the U.S. actions. They gave us aid. Whereas Iranians just give everyone AIDS. Reaction of a reaction? No, it wasn't a reaction of a reaction. Oh, you're talking about this video here. I thought you were talking about the Yu Yu Hakusho thing. Yes, we're doing some reactception right now.
It's very
I have
simple.
to think this through. No, I don't think it's a matter about my feelings.
I've only latched onto it because you.
Trump support will drop if this campaign drags on too long. No, I don't think so. Trump support will drop if there's boots on the ground. I think that Trump support will drop if there's boots on the ground. If this campaign goes on, but there's no boots on the ground and it's just bombing and drone warfare, and there's no there's minimal to no. Obviously, I can't say no because we've already lost 3 to 5 soldiers, which is absolutely unfortunate. But by and large, as long as there's no boots on the ground, and so our cost of life is kept at an absolute minimum, I don't think the Trump regime will lose support. But I do think if there's boots on the ground, it will absolutely. Also, what up, Mozart?
I don't see. I think it's an easy.
And yes, as it currently stands, the ratings for Trump have increased, especially amongst the military. Trump's platform was no new wars. I think support will drop from his base. Well, I mean, first of all, the polling data shows you're wrong, though, BMOS. If you mean as of right now, if you mean boots on the ground, like what I said, yes, no new wars, so boots on the ground, he will lose support. This isn't a new war, though. This is a preemptive strike and ending ending additional conflicts with no boots on the ground. His polling numbers have gone up. And in fact, his polling has gone up 28% from the American military.
It's an easy thing to answer.
20
I
minutes
didn't
to
know
find
it
out
was
if
a
he's
therapy
pleased or not.
session to ask me about how I'm feeling. I thought it's about my political viewpoints. My political viewpoint is it was wrong to kill him. It was illegal to kill him. It will have
It was illegal.
disastrous effects for the region. It's mad to take out a head of state and a spiritual leader. And it's even madder when you replace him with his son, who apparently is, quote unquote, worse than him.
Then bomb his son, too. Again, bomb his... This isn't the same as, like, North Korea, right? North Korea, to my knowledge at least, isn't funding terrorist regimes the world over. Now, North Korea is systematically murdering its own people. Absolutely. I find that to be an issue. But if North Korea is systematically murdering its own people, and we find out they're also, funding terrorist regimes all over the world, bomb the fuck out of them too. Who gives a shit?
Both for Iran and for US and Israeli.
I'll just try
So
one
no, I'm
more
not
time.
pleased at the situation we're in.
Yep. Apparently, massive
Not
attacks,
asking
data
about the
center. All right, we're
situation.
going to look at it right after
Simply
this.
asking, are you
You
pleased?
are. You are.
Yeah, people actually like war for winning. Bingo, bango, bongo. Yeah, Vietnam, bad. Well, to be fair, we were also winning in Vietnam. There's some historical misnomers there, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, public perception, Vietnam, bad, this good.
That he's no longer ruling the country.
I find it hard not to label this as a regime change, which is the same thing we've done in the past that we call a war. So, again, the difference is A, boots on the ground, but B, regime change isn't inherently bad. Regime change is good if it's people that will play ball with us and bow and kowtow to us and not fund terrorist regimes the world over. It's not like it's just America that's a victim of this. The UK has seen like 98% of all terrorist action since 2001 in the UK is Islamic terrorism. We see this literally the world over, whether it be in Israel, whether it be in Turkey, whether it be in Jordan, whether it be in all these other Islamic countries. It's all coming out of Iran. Why not blow them sky fucking high? Sunni terrorism is completely decentralized and creates a shit ton of problems around the world. Those fucking madrasas, those fucking madrasas that brainwash people. I'm not familiar with that terminology.
Man.
Sadly, many U.S. allies in the U.S. still fund terrorism. True. Iran where? Well, Iran's so far away.
No, I'm not pleased about what's going on right now in Iran, which involves killing Khamenei. So I'm not going to answer your question.
He will never do it.
For you to clip this out of context.
Yes.
No. Nice try.
Yo, what up, Hypno? Guys, we got Hypno in the chat. You know the drill. Members, drop them hypnotic emojis. Me and Hypno are going to be playing Reanimal late tonight on his gaming channel, and then on my second channel, the Glitch in Paradise gaming channel. He and I are going to start doing a, whenever we can do it, co-op gaming show. So that's going to be awesome.
Perish the thought that either of us would take anything from our interviews and clip them out of context, Mehdi. You would never do that.
Yes.
Ah, thank you, Netflix.
Never, never.
Of course not. No, this is it. And again, it's so obvious that these people engage in dishonesty. It is. It is so obvious, and it is insane why it happens. Oh, God. Is it the same guy again?
It's a moral abomination, and yes, it's tactically stupid. They bombed a submarine and just let the sailors drown to death, going against.
Yeah.
Even the
That's what happens when they're underwater. Like it's a submarine.
Nazis didn't do that during World War II. Apparently, even the Nazis collected people from the water.
And then what did they do to those people after they collected them, huh? What did they do to those prisoners of war after they collected them from the water?
Now, that is you playing the Nazi analogy just 6 days after you told people to stop playing the Nazi analogy, isn't it?
Piers, come on. You
Come on. Come on.
could do better than this. That's two different things completely.
I'm not replacing Smash AT. The dude has a fucking family. He has no time to do anything. Look, and even if Hypno was replacing Smash, he's replacing Smash with a better gamer. Like,
One is saying that Iran is Nazi Germany in its ambitions, in its political agenda, in its conquest plans, in its military threat.
Which is actually what the
people actually wanted the sub to stay at surface level, keep the people on the sub, and just a couple of master arms that are guarding them. It's not hard to yell no from me. No, so that's true too.
Prince of Saudi Arabia said.
None of those things are true. No serious person looks at a country that's been...
Do you think MBS isn't serious? You think he's not, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think he's pretty serious. Like, what do you mean? That's not even true.
besieged by sanctions, surrounded on all sides, has a military that doesn't come anywhere close to Hitler's military, hasn't actually invaded its neighbor.
Doesn't come close to Hitler's military. That's arguably worse. Because, yeah, due to the... Hitler actually had a, like, full military regime, boots on the ground, marching cross-country, raping, pillaging, plundering, conquering, invading multiple other countries. Instead, you got Iran, who's a lot more tactical about it by just funding terrorist cells the world over. It's decentralized. So, yeah, this is actually worse than the Hitler regime in terms of a tactical... Well, it's better for them, but worse for us from a tactical standpoint. So, of course, you got to go to the source.
In the same way that Nazi Germany did, has no aspirations to take over the continent despite, or the region despite Lindsey Graham's nonsense sectarian
Well, they don't need to. Their proxy groups do that for them.
claims. It's not Nazi Germany. I think you and I can both agree on that. Now, the point I was making on MS Now was not that Iran or America, I'm not saying the American military is Nazi Germany either. I was simply pointing out that what Peter Hegseth did by torpedoing that Iranian unarmed vessel in international waters off the coast of Sri Lanka that was taking
was base. That's what he did. What he did was an action of the most base of proportions.
taking part in a display, in a ceremonial event in India. We knew it was an unarmed ship, posed no threat, wasn't part of the war effort. We sunk the ship with a torpedo and then left the people to die.
Wait, so we're saying that a military ship wasn't part of the war effort? Like, an Iranian military ship? Oh my God, bro.
Yeah, I see Michael Doberman in the chat. Unarmed? Yeah.
Oh.
So they do with those boats.
As I said, everything this guy does will be to downplay and enable Islamic terrorism. Keep this in mind. Everything that he does, everything that he says will be working towards that goal.
And people will believe him because he's wearing a suit and he's on news channels instead of looking like a fucking towel head with unkempt facial hair and like 4 different buck teeth of all different sizes, making Steve Buscemi look like a normal fucking individual. It was a mostly peaceful sub.
You can look at that in the past. You can look at
International law is fake and gay. Absolutely correct.
it in the future.
In the Caribbean. We left the people to die, and I was pointing out that goes against the norms of all naval maritime warfare. I'm no expert. This is what I'm told. I'm told that goes against all the norms of maritime war, that even in World War II, there were times when the Nazis shot down boats and...
Heard Mob Diamond's comments on Islam Leon, bro, is insane. Can't wait for his party to kick him. Yeah, I actually was talking about that yesterday. Yesterday's stream of the 3 to 4 hours we streamed, like an hour and a half of it was all dedicated to Mom Donnie yesterday.
saved, pulled in some of the survivors. That doesn't mean I'm saying the American military or the Israeli military is Nazi Germany. I'm
Well, then
simply
why would you
pointing
make
out
the
some
comparison?
Of our tactics are so barbaric that they compare to some of the worst people in history. That is not the same as saying Iran
It's
is
barbaric to
Also, don't listen to this dude's filth. He is absolutely, in multiple instances, compared at least the Israeli the Israeli military, Netanyahu, and again, I'm no fucking fan of Israel, but he has compared them to the Nazis on multiple occasions. In fact, the thumbnail for this tweet, hold on. Let's see if I can go back and find it. Let me see if I can go back and find it. The thumbnail for this tweet, while it's blurred out, has him saying just that. I probably don't even have to scroll very far to find it. What was it? What's the tweet I used for the back of this thumbnail? Let's see. I bet I can find it real quick. All right. This dude tweets so goddamn much. It might actually be harder. I think it was right around this general area. Give me 1 sec, crew. The reason crowd's going up, no. Wants to destroy the towers in London, no. Can't say we won't run the dangers. It was so easy to find when I was setting up the thumbnail. Come on now, I did not have to scroll like this. Point is, I grabbed a shot, just a quick screenshot from his X account, just like 2 hours ago, that was doing Nazi. Of course, he's retweeting Evan Loves Worf. This dude is retweeting Evan Loves Worf. I mean, that's gotta tell you all that you need to know. Whatever. I'll find it later. It's the background to this tweet. That is the point. So he was literally doing it just a minute ago.
Attack a military ship and kill everybody on the ship that you're in an active war against.
If y'all haven't seen it, watch it. That was what we opened the stream with today, Genetic Explorer. That was what we opened the stream with.
Yeah, I don't think that's the right use of the word.
It's Nazi Germany, and therefore we should invade. Piers, you know this. You're slightly older than I am. You know that every time we've gone to war, we've accused our enemies of being Hitler. We said it about Saddam. We said it about Milosevic. We said it about Gaddafi. That is the...
Okay, the American people do the same thing to our own goddamn presidents. They called Bush Hitler. They called Obama Hitler. They called Trump Hitler. The only one I can remember them not calling Hitler is Obama. Or, I mean, is Biden. Is because Biden was so goddamn incompetent he couldn't be Hitler.
Lazy go-to move. And I know you hate me comparing Trump's rhetoric to Hitler's rhetoric.
No, I know, but when you say
Iran to Nazi Germany.
Mehdi, come on. Mehdi, come on. When you say things like, even the...
He forgets Iran doesn't follow the Geneva Convention or norms of war, so he's full of shit. And neither do we. And that's no country, no actual country that engages in full-scale warfare, us, Iran, Russia, none of us follow the Geneva Convention. And you want to know why we can get away with it? You want to know why we can get away with it? Because... yeah, Russia and China, they know that we violate the Geneva Convention, and we know they do it, and Iran knows we all do it, and we just point like, hey, if you expose this, we'll expose what you did, and then you'll expose what we did, and just go back and forth. So, like, it's an open secret. Fair enough. Maybe they did call Biden Hitler. Fair enough.
Nazis didn't do that. It's like, no, but the Nazis did murder 12 million people and did kill 12...
By saying even the Nazis didn't do something, you are
BMO is so fucking based. Reminder that the UN is a fake authority. That is absolutely correct.
implying that the country is doing something that's worse than what the Nazis do or did. Like, that's obviously what you're implying. That's the only reason to bring up something else as a frame of reference.
6 million Jews in the Holocaust. So
not 12. No. A lot of other people were killed in the Holocaust. It wasn't just Jews. Hitler was not like, he didn't just hate Jews. He hated like gypsies. He hated gay people. Hated disabled people. There's plenty of people who got killed in the Holocaust that weren't Jews.
The Nazis weren't that
Every time
great,
I come
you know?
on this show, you make this point. So let me make this point one more time. So first of all, I'm sure you've compared Russia's and Putin's invasion of Ukraine to horrible historical episodes. You've said this before. I just want to nail this once and for all.
And Piers is wrong about that too. Well, I don't know whether it's wrong or not per se. You can have a conversation about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I'm more just caught up in the idea that America shouldn't give a fuck one way or the other when it comes to that. Unlike the, Islamic terrorist issues that absolutely do affect us to this day. Literally happened in New York a couple days ago. That's a pressing issue. Russia and Ukraine is not.
It's been multiple times. But if you compare something to the Nazis, that doesn't mean it's always 12 million dead. Would you agree with me that Nick Griffin is a Nazi, the UK BNP leader? A court said you can call him a Nazi. Would you agree he's a neo-Nazi?
What?
Yeah, well, the UK courts also, say that you can't eat bacon outside of a fucking mosque or it's a hate crime. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, he's a far-right lunatic, yeah.
You would never call him a Nazi because a court said you could call him a neo-Nazi. Are you saying skinheads with swastikas who run around European towns attacking migrants who say Heil Hitler, are they Nazis?
Yeah, of
I
course.
would say they are. They haven't killed 12 million
I would
people.
categorize
The criteria
them
that
as...
you can only...
Honestly, I wouldn't even say Nazis. I wouldn't even say Nazis. Maybe you can make an argument for maybe neo-Nazi. But neo-Nazi is not the same as Nazis. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the neo in front of their name. There's similarities. Absolutely, there's a lot of similarities. But the Nazi regime was a one-time thing. The Nazi regime was a one-time thing.
I would categorize them as I'd categorize them as Nazi sympathizers. But my point being, you went in 1 week.
My point being is, you don't have to kill 12 million people.
Using Nazi analogies.
I didn't say that. Now, Piers, this is really bad on your part. That's not what I said.
Mehdi.
I said that don't call Iran.
I don't know why you bring this guy on there. This guy's obviously going to lie and make up bullshit, right?
Well, here's why you bring him on. One, because, Piers Morgan thrives on this sort of outrage-style content, and you know what? I can't knock him because I do the same fucking thing. So that's not a dig at Piers. But also, for the same reason that Joe Rogan can bring on absolutely ridiculous people, right? You bring on people who spout retarded-ass rhetoric, and you expose that rhetoric to the world so that people like Asmongold and like myself and you guys in the chat can roast the fuck out of him. You need to expose bad ideas to the masses, right? Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
What is this kind of reasoning? I don't know.
See Germany. And then I said...
By Mehdi's logic, you don't have to fly a plane to a building to be a terrorist. Bingo, bango, bongo. Guess that makes him one. And if anyone in the UK is a Nazi, it's Keir Starmer. You could draw some pretty interesting parallels.
Let's not do things in the Pacific that even the Nazis didn't do.
No one's even doing that? No one's stacking randoms and screaming Hail Hitler?
If you can't see it, I'm sure your viewers do.
I think probably we should just all stop using the Nazis and Hitler in every debate about everything that happens.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you say fair enough, but you're going to continue to do it, you batshit insane. Oh, my God.
Yeah, duh. It's so overused. It's like totally DR'd, man. That's why media is just a screaming match. I think it's just so fucking ridiculous.
So, yeah, there was that. That was great. There's the link for you guys. Drop it in chat. And we're going to go right from one Muslim retardation story into another. Mamdani bankrupts New York City's middle class. We roasted Mamdani yesterday. We're going to roast him some more today, baby. Let's go.
Some people are starting to get nervous about a tax hike that the mayor says is supposed
so overused. I stopped caring about being called it. I actually not only have I stopped caring about not being called it, I actively worry that I'm not doing a good enough job if they stop calling me it. I need to maintain being called a Nazi, or I'm not doing good enough. I'm not doing my job well enough if I'm not being called a Nazi. So at this point, I want people to call me a Nazi.
to be a backup plan to taxing the rich.
Find another way. There's got to be another way.
So, betrayed New Yorkers are taking to the streets and to the steps of City Hall to protest the mayor's new tax increases, which he promised would only...
Didn't Soros kid bankroll Mamdani? Yes, Alex Soros did bankroll Mamdani.
affect the rich, but now appears squarely aimed at working class voters already struggling with an affordability crisis. So the mayor can fund his swath of free programs, which will be open to just about everyone, even if they're in America without permission. And as this takes shape, some people are predicting New York City's experiment with communism is gonna transform this place.
Is it really an experiment? Is it like, can you call it an experiment if you know from the get-go that the experiment is going to fail? Like, for it to actually be an experiment, doesn't there have to be a chance of success? Hold on, let's find out. I'm curious. Let's find out. For something to be labeled as an experiment, does it have to have a chance of success? Okay, an experiment does not have a real chance of success. What makes it an experiment is the process of testing a hypothesis or idea, not whether success is realistically possible. An experiment is conducted to gather information about whether something... But if we know it's not true, if we know it's not going to work, yeah, failure is a valid outcome, well, then I guess by all means. If failure is a valid outcome, then yes. This is definitely an experiment in New York socialism.
Permanently.
Tenants, local officials, and organizations alike took to the steps of City Hall with a clear message. It comes weeks after Mayor Zoran Mamdani put out a plan to close a $5.4 billion gap in the city's budget.
That's why Campbell was among the dozens of homeowners in Southeast Queens who turned out for what they say was an emergency response to the mayor.
I love how he's like, dozens of homeowners in Southeast Queens. I can only imagine it's got dozens. Everyone else is renters. I can only imagine there's literally probably just a dozen people that actually own homes there.
Do your job as mayor and leave our taxes out.
This is coming from someone who has never had to fight for anything in his life, who grew up in privilege and wealth.
There's no restraint. They just come to us as if we're an ATM machine.
She says the Mamdani tax hike, if it comes to fruition, will affect her tenants too.
I hope none of y'all that are complaining about it voted for him. You better all be people that didn't vote for him from the get-go.
It's going to make it much harder for me to...
We know it'll fail. We just don't know how bad it'll fail. Fair enough.
Replace a boiler. Instead, I'm going to repair it. Patch a roof instead of replacing a roof.
You are giving only two options. You're saying, if we don't tax the rich, then I gotta increase property taxes.
It will put us in a hole. We will be at a deficit.
So as we talk about all the stuff the mayor wants to pay for, it looks like the industrial fraud complex has no plans to let go of New York.
Every normal IQ'd person... Yeah, you don't even need to be high IQ'd, Matt. You don't even need to be high IQ. You just have to be fucking normal.
Anytime soon. And what nobody's talking about is that endless funding for free programs that are open to the entire world have set New York City on a course it may never correct from. And while this may have started with the asylum crisis that saw hundreds of thousands of folks,
which was a completely manufactured crisis propagated by leftists in these government cities, Michael Doberman for a 5-banger says, sending love from Vancouver Island. You know what? You know what, Michael? I've talked a lot of shit on Canada over my time on YouTube. Talked a lot of shit on Canada. But compared to New York, y'all might be alright. Y'all might be alright. Compared to New York.
Folks moved into luxury hotels with all their bills paid for. This created an entire industry dedicated to receiving government money in ways that had never been possible before. And that industry is now so large, it's self-sustaining. Because the more money you give out, the more people who are negatively affected if you stop giving that money out, which means we've just got to give out more and more and more, you see? At the same time, nothing is being done to help New Yorkers live here on their own, and the statistics are shocking. A record 350,000 are currently homeless, and 1 out of every 3 New Yorkers spends more than half their income on rent. And when you add to that super expensive milk at the grocery store, there just isn't any room left in people's budgets for the mayor's plans. Which brings us to the real reason people are on the steps of City Hall protesting Tax increases. These are people who think that if they have to pay for one more thing, that's it. They're gonna have to leave, and they might be right. But
I feel like we need another Boston Tea Party. But instead it should be the New York, the New York Muslim Party, right? Because that sounds like a political movement, right? It sounds like a political party, the New York Muslim Party. No, it is actually a bunch of New Yorkers getting together and tossing all the Muslims and commies into the harbor.
Here's the bad news for all of the folks who are upset and feel betrayed by the mayor, even if these
You have no right to feel betrayed. If you voted for him, you have no right to feel betrayed. Because he told you he will do all of this. If I can give Mamdani credit for something, he was honest. He told you from the get-go when he was campaigning that this is what he would be doing. So you cannot feel betrayed. The only people that have the right to bitch and moan about this are the ones that didn't vote for him because they knew this was coming.
Property hikes get postponed. Nobody wants to admit the number of millionaires here is finite and shrinking fast. Which means these taxes we're hearing about today, they're just gonna come back tomorrow. On top of that, if you're gonna hike up the rates for rich people to live here, these are the people who own businesses and rent out apartments. How are they gonna get their money back? They're gonna pass it on to their customers one way or the other, which means the affordability equation here doesn't really change. But wait, maybe New Yorkers are getting something back, which is better than what they're being asked to put in. Maybe this is gonna be a great thing and the city's best days are ahead of it.
What we are rolling out today is for parents of 2-year-olds in the neighborhoods that we have listed. No matter the amount of money they make, the occupation they have, their immigration status, so long as they live there, they can apply. The application process will become open sometime in early summer.
2-year-olds. Child care for all, 2-year-olds. What about the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds that still also, aren't in school yet? How am I feeling about Crimson Desert? I have literally no interest in it. I'm not saying it'll be bad. I have literally no interest in Crimson Desert whatsoever. For the people excited about it, good for you guys. Does not look like my kind of game. I couldn't care less. Hope it's good for you guys, though.
Awesome. Government-funded childcare programs that are being rolled out as quickly as possible, paid for by every single person who lives here. What could go wrong?
Going to a lot of these daycare centers, we're trying to find a spot for our little boy Joey, but we thought maybe we could check him in the autism center because none of the daycare centers are open. Yeah, and how many kids do you guys have at this autism center?
I can't.
Another way you're a millionaire is your home. Due to inflation, the housing market, your home. That's exactly correct. People are so retarded as like, oh, you're a millionaire? You have $1 million in cash just sitting in the bank? No, dumbass. Assets, stocks, bonds, all that stuff. Like, no. You don't just have $1 million in cash in a fucking Scrooge McDuck money vault. These people are financially retarded, bro.
Are you a news reporter?
My name's Nick. We're doing a little documentary trying to find little Joey a spot to put himself in one of these centers here.
As America has learned recently, these types of programs, they might not attract the children the programs are designed for, but because this is America's largest sanctuary city that has billions of dollars to just dole out, no other city has that. And for that reason, some people think the fraud here is going to get even worse than what we've seen even in places like Minnesota.
Hola, su hijo o hija está cumpliendo 3 o 4 años en el 2020.
How far are we falling as a country, bro? How far are we falling as a country? Fucking ads in Spanish and shit.
26.
California is the worst. Honestly, I don't know. You know what? Let's do a poll in chat. Let's do a poll in the chat right now. What state is worse? California? New York? Go buck wild, chat.
Usted puede registrarlos gratis. Cualquier padre de la familia de la ciudad de Nueva York, sin importar su ocupación, ingreso o estatus migratorio.
Worst state? Nah, just worst state in general. Just worst state in general. I didn't realize you meant for fraud And yeah, California might be worse for fraud, but just in general.
Okay, so here's a connection that you really need to understand. As you just heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez say, everyone can sign up for these new programs in New York.
You didn't hear her say that, because she didn't say it in the right goddamn language. We're an English-speaking country. You didn't hear AOC say that. What you heard was AOC speaking moon speak.
No matter what their status is in the country. Now, that's because New York is a sanctuary city. These politicians, they think they're being very generous. But one of the ways that state auditors in Minnesota were able to catch fraud was they realized that the number of daycares greatly eclipsed the population, right? There was a major imbalance in some places, and they figured out, gee, hey, Governor Tim, should we look at this stuff? He did say no, by the way. But if you've got a sanctuary city with hundreds of thousands of people living in it who are undocumented, how do you prove there are or are not too many childcare facilities? You can't. Which means the city is setting itself up to spend unlimited amounts of money on something that is already out of control.
Free daycare for 2-year-olds this fall.
We're expecting a second kid on the way, and so universal 2 care.
You're expecting a second kid? How did you get pussy, son? You mean your wife and her boyfriend are expecting a second kid?
Means that we are going to be able to afford to stay in New York.
Alongside Governor Hochul Tuesday, Mayor Mamdani announced the first 2,000 2K seats.
It will place at least $20,000 per child.
$20,000 per child. You know, I recently heard some dumb broad on the Whatever podcast say, I shit you not, this is what she said, that it takes, that the U.S. Department, one of the, what was the Department of Education? I don't remember what department it was. It wasn't the Department of Education. It was, I'm blanking on what department ran the study. But they came to the conclusion that it takes, on average, $200,000 per year to care for a child. $200,000 a year to pay for a child. Guys, it don't take no $200,000 a year to take care of it. I don't know how many of y'all have kids. I can assure you it's no $200,000 per year.
Back in the pockets of parents across our city, and will make it possible for countless...
It may have been child health and safety. That's possible. Yeah, I watched this a while ago, so it's not, but yeah, it could have been child health and safety.
Parents to return to the careers they love.
Wait a second. There's only 2,000 seats. I can count the number of parents who are going to be able to return to the careers they love. 2,000. And we got a city of 8 million people who are expected to pay for this stuff. And that's the whole problem with communism that New York City is about to learn hard and fast. An unlimited amount of money is required to dole out specific things to a select group of people.
Yeah, I have 3. Nowhere near 200K for the 3 of them. They're even enrolled in private school. And yet that was what the numbers said. I wonder I wonder what sort of financial gymnastics they had to do to inflate the numbers that much.
Finite group of people. You see, you have a finite outcome, which requires unlimited resources. This is a big problem. Not to mention, if you do not have children and you live in New York City and your rent goes up because your landlord's getting hit to pay for this stuff, your life just got harder. You receive 0 benefit.
Yep, your taxpayer money is now going to pay for other people's kids. Congratulations. Congratulations, you're paying for other people's kids. It takes a village, after all.
From this. And because these...
Why'd you spend $200 on your kid? You bought him a Benz? I assume you're joking, because I didn't say that.
These are daycares, child cares. The mayor has just signaled to the entire industrial fraud complex in America that the best thing you can do if you want to live affordably in New York is to come here right now and build a daycare. Set it up. Do it fast. Money's coming.
Tenants, local officials, and organizations alike took to the steps of City Hall with a clear message.
Find another way. There's got to be another way.
There
it
is.
comes weeks after Mayor Zoran Mamdani put out a plan to close a $5.4 billion gap in the city's budget. Mayor Mamdani says the first option would be a 2% tax increase on the city's top earners and corporations. But
2.6% on the top earners. All right. First of all, that's theft. Remember, because taxation is theft. But even if it weren't, all right, what happens when those top earners decide we don't want to pay that, so we're gonna go to New Jersey, we're gonna go to Texas, we're gonna go to one of the Carolinas. Have fun.
If that falls through, the second option would be a 9.5%.
I would need to look into the stuff happening in Virginia. I'm not aware of that, but I don't doubt it for a moment.
Property tax increase. The mayor previously emphasizing the latter as a last resort.
How do you close a spending problem by not saving money? You've got all this money that you're worried, where's it going to come from? Why does it need to come from anywhere? Why don't we just not spend the money? Well, the answer to that is the industrial fraud complex in the country learned its lesson. They better go to a place where it's easier to hide and where there's actually more money available. And that's because scaling back these programs is not on the table. $20,000 per child. That's insane money going into the pockets of people.
There are families out there that don't make that in a year. Now, no, that's notably below poverty line in America, right? That's notably below the poverty line. But there are parents out there, there are families that don't make $20,000 in a year. And now, but this state, this city, not state, city, thinks they can allocate just that per child.
Running daycares. Meanwhile, no plan has been put forth to check on these places and make sure they're actually full of children, but we're gonna fund them. And what are we gonna get in exchange from that? How is this gonna help the affordability equation for people who go to the grocery store and see milk that they can't afford, or see eggs they can't even afford to buy? Prices which, by the way, are higher here than anywhere else because of all the fees these businesses like your grocery store already have to pay. It's cheaper to buy food in places like New Jersey. That's why there's people that every weekend they leave New York and they go to New Jersey to buy their food and they come back. That's how much cheaper it is.
That falls through. The second option.
I used, back when I was living in Oklahoma, I used to do the same thing with alcohol. Not because it was cheaper, because Oklahoma's got stricter laws for alcohol content. And so I would just drive across the Oklahoma state lines into Missouri so I could buy alcohol that had like a higher percentages. People do it.
Would be a 9.5% property tax increase.
Just cut out all the unnecessary BS. Yes, such as socialist Muslim mayors. You can just cut them out completely.
The mayor previously emphasizing the latter as a last resort.
This is something that we do not want to do, and this is something that we are going to utilize every single option to ensure does not come to pass.
But in order for the first plan to work, it would need the governor's support. News 12 previously reported, though, Governor Kathy Hochul agreed to increase funding, but was in opposition to the first plan.
Yeah, she gave money for this,
making Plan B feel more like a Plan A for ralliers.
It will put us in a hole. We will be at a deficit because most of the people where we live in Canarsie, we are retirees.
I mean, look at this poor woman. She can't even afford to buy a hat. She got to crochet her own whack-ass hat. I mean, like, you know good goddamn well she didn't buy that. Who the fuck would buy that? She made that because she couldn't afford a hat.
And we on a fixed income.
That's Maria.
Wow, okay. So people are on fixed incomes, and even if you're not a retiree, your job...
I wouldn't call it fixed income. I would call it a broken income.
Isn't giving you a 10% raise every year. Let's just put it that way. Plus, the cost for homeowners might be even worse than what we're being told.
We have to pay flood insurance, and our flood insurance is up since Sandy.
News 12 previously reported that Mayor Mamdani assigned chief of saving officers in different departments to see if there were any ways to cut costs.
Yeah, they didn't find anything. But you know what building owners are finding out is that the cost to run their dilapidated building, that just keeps creeping up and up and up and up and up. Every single year it gets tougher. The fuel to fuel the building, because landlords are required to provide hot water, cold water, and heat. Well,
don't worry. That'll all be offset by the fact that they can't use gas stoves anymore. Once everyone makes the switch from gas stoves to electric stoves, that'll all be fixed. Don't worry. AOC told me so.
The boiler, that costs more money to fill up it costs more money to repair when it breaks. And every single thing that goes into an apartment, all those old radiators, the air conditioners, the lighting, everything, all that stuff keeps going up too. So the cost to operate these buildings goes up. Now they're all going to get hit with a property tax increase. This is nightmare news for renters, and they don't even know it.
But noticeably absent from phase one is Staten Island.
Oh.
Last week we were left out in the snow. This week we're left out in the cold.
Borough President Vito Fossella says after his residents waited days for snowplows to clear parts of Staten Island following last week's blizzard, they will now wait longer than the other boroughs for 2K.
Why?
But if there was a plan to put these things in place, shouldn't that have been a negotiation, a conversation to try to identify locations?
Mayor Mamdani says this first phase is a result of partnerships with
they could just give a tax credit for the original solar panels, which didn't provide electricity but heat up water. Yeah, giving a tax credit means the state taking in less money. They ain't gonna take in less money. They're already broke as it is. They're already $18 billion in debt. How are they gonna take in less money?
Existing child care providers.
These determinations were made in part on a reflection of which neighborhoods had those providers ready to go before the end of this year.
Oh, so listen to that. We're going to roll out citywide childcare, but your neighborhood doesn't get it if we don't think you have enough providers already. So if the industrial fraud complex, if that hasn't come to your neighborhood yet, we're not going to spend any money. Now, of course, not every daycare in the city is fraudulent. Of course not. But everybody in New York voted for all this free stuff. They said, you know what?
What up, love it? How you doing, girly? They want to spend the money to maintain gas infrastructure, even though gas is much cheaper than electricity. You're exactly correct.
We want all this free stuff. We love it. It sounds great. We got an affordability problem. Let's get the free childcare. Let's get the free grocery stores. But then, when it's time to roll out those free programs, people say, hey, wait a second. We wanted free grocery stores in every single neighborhood at once. What do you...
I find... Maybe I'm just too hopeful, right? Maybe I'm just too hopeful. Maybe I think too highly of the individual person. Who on God's green earth? I've never ran into somebody in the real fucking world that thought something like free grocery stores was feasible, was real, was possible. How fucking stupid do you have to be to believe that a free grocery store could exist? You also get a helicopter ride. You also get a helicopter ride. Eugenics has a bad, history attached to it. But I think I'm slowly becoming a eugenicist. Because if you got the IQ it takes to believe that a free grocery store could exist and could work, we don't need you running around. We don't need this old fucker. We ain't losing a champion. Helicopter ride. Eugenics FT dubs.
You mean there's only the first free grocery stores going over there and I gotta pay for it, or the first free childcares are over here and you want me to pay for it? That's not what I voted for. Yes, it is. Yes, it is how it works.
And also as a reflection of economic need.
Applications for the first 2,000 seats will open this summer.
It's gonna fill up quick. Them 2,000 seats are gonna be gone.
They're like fascinated by them.
It is a moth to a flame, I'm telling you.
Constantly. So what about Staten Island? Will this program eventually be offered to those folks in that borough?
Yes, Christine. So this is just phase one of with 2,000 seats for this fall.
But here's the problem.
This is not real. No, this is real socialism. That's the thing. This is real socialism. Real communism, really. Socialism nowadays doesn't really exist. Socialism is just a thin veil for communism.
Problem with that, all of this is being done.
You lived in a leftist area that actually believes that. Holy shit. Bomb them. Bomb them. We don't need them.
To solve the affordability problems every single resident in New York City is facing at once. And if you have to pay for something today, and it is eventually going to show up in a few months, in a few years, your affordability equation just got worse, and you get absolutely nothing for it. At the exact same time, there's only 2,000 seats in the program here, which means everyone pays for something not everyone has access to. That is not affordability.
Taxes were $2,800. Now they're $11,000. Mamdani tax hike would mean another $100.
Not everyone has access to. That is not affordability.
Taxes were $2,800. Now they're $11,000.
$2,800 to $11,000. Is there anybody in chat right now? If you had a bill, right? If you had a bill that jumped that much, is there anybody that's financially secure enough that they be able to make that change? I don't know anybody. And my dad pretty well off. Not gonna say anything. My dad is my dad was very financially savvy and smart and successful, and he did some good things. Even he probably would be like, whoa, this ain't in the fucking budget.
Mamdani tax hike.
Being able to afford it and wanting to actually pay it are two different things. Well, that's true. But the point remains the same, is that, like, the vast majority wouldn't be able to afford it, and the ones that would, or the ones that could afford it, still wouldn't want to. Yes.
Could mean another hike of over $1,000.
My property taxes went up from $3,200 to over $4,000. That's an $800 increase in theft.
And he's furious.
This is coming from someone who has never had to fight for anything in his life, who grew up in privilege and wealth. So, of course, raising property taxes on rich people, such as himself, isn't much of a burden.
But it's not just
I'm not so sure about
and
that.
And Korshak owns 2 small West Side.
It's a way to remove poor people from their homes. We did an entire segment on that yesterday. Love it. We did an entire segment on that yesterday. The fact that we get taxed on our homes after paying for it is fucking insane. Should be illegal. It's a way to try and ensure people have a higher chance to get kicked out of their homes so the state can reclaim, make more money on someone else. It's a damn shame you missed the stream yesterday, Hypno. Again, like I was just telling Love It, we did a whole segment on that exact concept yesterday. You are entirely correct. Anybody that tries to deny that is what's happening, this is a I would say global, but I don't know that's happening in other countries. I assume it is. But this is absolutely a nationwide agenda to try and force homeowners into renter culture.
Buildings, which each have 10 apartments.
There's no restraint. They just come to us as if we're an ATM machine.
She says the Mamdani tax hike, if it comes to fruition.
Notice how all the wealthy folk that are talking about how this is negative for them, they all white people. I'm sure that got nothing to do with it. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it.
Will affect her tenants too.
It's going to make it.
Do people think they were joking when they say, "Oh no"? I never once think that as a joke. I say it seriously all the time.
Replace a boiler instead. I'm going to repair it. Patch a roof instead of replacing a roof. Those are the kinds of decisions you have to make when 40% of your rent roll is going to the city in property taxes.
40% of the income from renting out apartments goes to the city. That means if you have a building with 10 apartments, 4 of those apartments you effectively collect nothing on. You got to run the whole building on the rent from the other 6 and repair it. And if you can't do that, what happens? You have to raise the rent. And you know something, the dirty little secret here, this landlady that we've got on the news, her taxes are going up either way. And it's her job to rent apartments because that's what she does for a living. If she's a millionaire, she's getting hit with the tax when it applies to millionaires. If she's not a millionaire, she's getting hit with the property tax. So one way or the other, she has to raise the costs for people to live in her building. And
then, people can't afford that, so they don't move in, so she loses money. Or if people can't afford it and they move in, okay, fair enough. Now, yeah, she's got the money, but those people now are sacrificing something. They're sacrificing, their groceries or some sort of leisure item, their car insurance, whatever it may be. Sacrifices are being made no matter what. Because you can't tax the wealthy into making the poor have some semblance of wealth as well. Yo, shout out Jake Taylor. Thank you for the sub. Jake Taylor, that's my old boss's name. Anyway, you can't make the rich, the poor people wealthier by taxing the wealthy themselves. It just doesn't fucking work.
Say she wasn't an apartment owner. Let's say she owned spaces that had commercial.
Squatters in New York don't help. I don't know too much about the squatter problem, but I wouldn't doubt that's a problem. But I don't know too much about it, so I can't speak to that one.
Commercial tenants, well, the property tax hits them too. So you got some business, some restaurant you enjoy eating at, well, guess what? Their rent's going up too. If you got some business that sells little products that you like to buy, little trinkets that you like to go out and buy in New York, a little souvenir shop or something, guess what? Those are going to cost more too because their rent's going up.
More painful. The mayor and Governor Kathy Hochul are digging in on their differences over what he wants from her.
In case you guys are unaware, you know how often I talk about the gal that said that black people don't know what computers are? There's that governor that said that black people have never even heard the word computer and they don't know what computers are. This is her. In case y'all never had a face to put to that name, this is her. Vile, racist, evil commie.
To increase taxes on the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations.
And what she says in return.
I don't support a property tax increase on New Yorkers, and I'm not wavering from my position.
It's an unusual dance playing out between the two
Yeah,
Democrats who have
Hochul.
endorsed
They keep saying Hochul. I think Hochul's fun.
one another. The governor has already committed billions to plug the budget hole and help the mayor keep his free
The money's
childcare
there.
promise.
She
But
gave him the
reasonable
money.
New Yorkers can wonder why Mayor Mamdani isn't changing his tune, even threatening to raise property taxes by 9.5%.
The lady was right. I'm only here because I'm a white man. He used a smart ray on me.
If the state refuses to tax
That's
the rich.
funny,
And this is after the governor promised all the money necessary to pay for these programs for the next few years. And you know what this signals? This signals
10%, guys. 9.5, whatever. We're going to round it 10. A 10% property rate increase. And you want to know what's crazy? You want to know what was probably proposed? You want to know what was probably proposed? 20%. You want to know why they probably proposed 20%? Because they wanted 10%, so they start negotiating at 20, and they drop it to 15, and oh no, that's still too much. Then they drop it to 10, and like, all right, fine, we'll do 10. That's a W. We'll meet you in the middle. It's a negotiation tactic. So this 10% property tax increase is probably after negotiation.
that the true nature of what this is all going to cost is bigger than anyone can possibly imagine. At the exact same time, this number, 9.5%, it's being teased now as a nuclear option. Mayor says he doesn't want to do it. Well, guess what? In a few years or in a few months, when these plans don't work out and the mayor comes back with a 4.25% tax instead, he's going to say, yeah, well, you know, hey, it's half of what we were asking for before.
See, he's saying the same thing I am, only he's saying the negotiations haven't happened yet. So starting at 10% now, and they'll negotiate down to 2-3%. That's absolutely still way more than necessary when taxation in general is theft. Overshoot your goal because you could be negotiating with a moron and get even more. Well, I mean, that's true as well. But you overshoot, again, just as a diversion tactic. Yeah, always say more. Always ask for more. That way you can negotiate down to what you actually want. Absolutely.
And we have this entire fight right now over these communist plans to roll out programs that everybody pays.
Yeah, that is a city tax. Yes, correct.
For and only a few people get, and guess what? There's not enough money for it, and there never will be. That's why we have a $5.8 billion budget cap to begin with. This place is on a collision course with bankruptcy, and nobody wants to stop it. People are trying to accelerate it. At the same time, what are we told about these programs that everybody has to pay for? We're told that they make New York City stronger. Well, how do they do that? How is New York City stronger when everyone has to pay more for something that only a few people have access to? How is that better for us? And I get that these programs are sold as an investment, but guess what? If you own a building and it's falling apart and you have to repair the foundation so the place doesn't collapse.
It's being sold as an investment. Yeah, in the same way that a 1992 Buick is a fucking investment.
You could say, okay, the foundation is going to cost this much to repair. It's going to last, 20 years before I got to do it again. And this is how much I need to raise rents. And I can figure out exactly when my investment's going to pay off. But all these free programs that are magnets for fraud, when do they pay off? How do we do that calculation to figure out when everyone's going to get their money back and when the world's going to be a happy, magical place? We can't. I don't see how this is going to work. I don't see how there are going to be people who...
I don't see how this is going to work. It's because it's not. It's just like, man, I don't see how putting an astronaut in space with no spacesuit whatsoever and allowing him to breathe, I don't see how that's gonna work. It's because it's physically fucking impossible.
Lives are made better off from it. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, excellent video. Excellent video. Bro, New York is cooked. We spent a lot of time roasting the UK and roasting California. We don't talk about New York very often in this channel. Last couple days have been the fuck New York streams. And it's been great. You'll love to see it. But we got about an hour left. We got about an hour left of the stream. I want to talk about this. We move out of the last hour. We're going to move out of the realm of politics. We're going to get that good pop culture shit. Good news! Crunchyroll is dead. And they're not actually dead. It will be incredible when they do die. Crunchyroll is the worst thing to happen to anime in the Western world. I mean, since its inception, effectively. And they are suffering massive layoffs, which is a step in the right direction. Let's talk about Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll is imploding as a company and issuing mass layoffs with their employees within the HR, product, and e-commerce departments. This news comes out days after a class action lawsuit was issued against Crunchyroll for selling your private data to a third party. Go figure.
Just wanting to turn on some anime, right? Just wanting to watch the most recent episode of Kaya-chan Isn't Scary. Oh, and now your social security number's on the dark web. Oopsie.
I mean, with the whole issue going on around the world with age verification, forced ID, face scanning technology, go figure Crunchyroll will be a part of that and selling your data to some degree. It wouldn't even shock me at this point.
L-Dub says, as much as it's good to see Crunchyroll get its karma, I care more about viable competitors growing in the space. So let me offer you an alternative. L-Dub. We don't need no viable competitors. Let me explain. Pirate anime. Watch it illegally. Right? That sounds counterintuitive, right? Anime is a loss leader. Anime doesn't make money. Bingo, bango, bongo, Michael Doberman. 9 anime. Exactly. Anime is a loss leader. Anime doesn't make money. Anime is a commercial for merch and manga. Right? Anime doesn't make money itself, but people go out and buy the figures, and they buy the posters and the wall scrolls and the body pillows and the trading cards, and they buy the manga, and that's where all the money is. Anime itself is a loss leader. So viable competitors kind of really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, because merch sales is what matter.
In the next 6 to 7 months, Crunchyroll implements some form of age verification to be able to gather your data and to verify if you're an adult or not, all in the name of protecting children. But I'm getting a little bit off topic. The point of the matter is that Crunchyroll is now laying off a bunch of employees, and there's a lot of people speculating and wondering, why is Crunchyroll restructuring? Why is this happening? Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing?
It's a great thing for people that love seeing morons and losers who've corrupted and destroyed an art form and a medium lose their jobs. But in all reality, this is likely just to make way for AI. This is likely just a way to make way for AI, which I'm okay with. These people don't need these jobs. We can have a fucking robot do it. I love the fact that people in HR are the ones losing their jobs. Dude, the fact that the layoffs are in HR, oh, that makes me feel good.
Thing. Is this bad news for Crunchyroll? Is this good news for Crunchyroll? Let's just get all into this and talk about what this might mean and the future of Crunchyroll as a company itself. So we need to talk about kind of what's happened just in the last few months for Crunchyroll that might have led to some of these issues. First off, at the end of December for 2025, it was revealed that Crunchyroll was going to be removing the free tier on their site. What that meant was
free with ads, man. That has been a business model for years. It's been a business model for many a company for years. Free with ads. A lot of streaming services do it. Mobile games do it. Shit, some live service games on consoles even kind of do it. It's not really with ads so much as they do it with microtransactions for cosmetics and stuff instead, but you get the point. But the money started flowing, man. The money started flowing. They started doing all this hiring extra, expanding. And then they've expanded to the point where free with ads now doesn't support their business costs. And because of that, they now have to punish the customer because they fucked up. It was shit. It was shit with the now Crunchyroll's always been shit. Absolutely, like Crunchyroll is absolutely shit. And the free Crunchyroll with ads. I'm diehard anti Crunchyroll, but back when Dragon Ball Super was airing, man, 7-8 years ago when Dragon Ball Super was airing, I was watching Crunchyroll. I was using the free version with ads. The anime would play fine, but there was like a commercial every 7 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and the ads would buffer so bad, so poorly, that for every 7 minutes of anime, there was like 13 minutes of ads because they were just stuttering through. It would take me like an hour and a half to watch a 22 goddamn minute episode of Dragon Ball Super. Yeah, stop inflating your companies with unnecessary overhead. Exactly.
That if you're someone that was not paying for Crunchyroll and you wanted to watch anime on their site, you no longer can watch anime on their site for free, because there was some anime that was offered to be able to watch on their site for free if you watched it with ads. But that entire tier was completely removed, and the only way to access anime on their site now is by paying a subscription. Now, a month after that news came out, Crunchyroll announced that they were going to be raising prices on their subscription.
Now, I don't know about Crunchyroll because I don't pay for that shit, so I don't know how much it costs. What I do know is how much Netflix costs and why I canceled it. Because I never use Netflix anyway, man. I never use Netflix anyway. You want to know why I kept Netflix around? Because my grandma knows what Netflix is and she knows how to use it. Grandma Paradise knows Netflix. Then she stopped using Netflix. She switched over to fucking Roku and she watches all this free shit. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, she ain't even watching Netflix. And I'm paying $25 goddamn a month for Netflix. 25, dude. Netflix, $25 a month. Cancel that shit.
Go figure. Go figure they would do something so sleazy and scumbag as that. And the fact of the matter is that the price increase made no sense whatsoever, because when they announced this price increase, there was already so many issues with their platform that raising the price didn't make any sense, because there was less features that you had now than you had a year ago.
Got rid of the comment sections, got rid of the forums, got rid of a lot of anime licenses they once held. Destructive company.
And to explain that, over a year ago, Crunchyroll removed their comment section. They removed the ability to comment on their site, to actually talk with people and discuss episodes within the certain episode, below the episode, discuss.
And you want to know why they removed it? Hate speech! That dreaded hate speech! Oh, people throwing a fit about Western localizations, throwing a fit about all the agendas that are being shoved into anime when you watch it dubbed or whatnot. So, rather than try and fix the industry, rather than letting fans have their discourse about what is affecting the industry, they shut that shit down.
In the comments like a YouTube video, you no longer could comment on news articles or anything like that. You were completely silenced. Then on top of that, there was this whole allegation and scandal of Crunchyroll stealing fan mail from a voice actor, which was absolute.
We covered that as well, yeah. They stole his fan mail for like 6 years. Trinkets, gifts, things fans sent him, never got.
Insane, by the way. And then you fast forward a little bit after that, you have subtitles deteriorate and they get caught for AI ChatGPT translations for some anime episodes.
That's fine. I don't care about that. I'd rather that than localizers have their jobs.
Then they changed their typesetting to make it more modernized and just look absolutely ugly and awful, and a lot of people started calling it out, even some of those that are the biggest crunch.
No, you were correct though, L-Dub. It was mostly leftists. It was the very small minority of right-wing individuals commenting that they nuked that's how insane they are. Even the small minority caused them to nuke the entire prospect of having comments.
shills that literally will kiss the boot of Crunchyroll even started to call Crunchyroll out for their shit usage of typesetting and subtitles for their anime around October of last year. And so when you get into what's happened in the last few months, you have this class action lawsuit that happened with Crunchyroll, you have the raising of prices, and you also have the issue with their subtitles are progressively getting worse. So when you look at this announcement of layoffs within their HR department, their product department, and e-commerce department, it honestly is not relatively surprising whatsoever.
Not only is it not surprising, but it feels good, baby. It feels so good.
And we need to talk about what this
main problem is Sony of America that owns them. No, they own Sony of... yeah, Sony of America owns... Sorry, I was thinking Funimation. Yeah, Sony of America owns them, correct.
Necessarily means. So Crunchyroll specifically said the reason for e-commerce, why there's layoffs there, is because of this. The intent is to change how merch is made available to collectors and fans. This one is a very key little detail that Crunchyroll outlined I think a lot of people are not talking about, and that is the fact that Crunchyroll has already showcased that they are very terrible with handling merchandise. Like, for those that...
See, I didn't know this. Has anyone ever bought merch from Crunchyroll? Like, I can't imagine buying merch from Crunchyroll. That's so fucking weird to me.
Have tried to use the Crunchyroll store to buy a figure, buy manga, light novels, whatever. They've been terrible with it. They have canceled orders. If you were someone that was using Right Stuff and then it got merged into Crunchyroll, you were still waiting on your orders and they got completely canceled. They didn't keep and uphold their promises that they made when they consumed Right Stuff as a part of their brand. And Crunchyroll has been very terrible with just handling merchandise in general. And so these mass layoffs within product and e-commerce can be one of two things. Either A, they're laying them off because they've just been so terrible at their job, which... good job. Okay, you're getting rid of bad employees that are potentially not actually helping the company. Now, that is one possibility. The other possibility is that Crunchyroll is trying to automate the process.
And that would be just as good. Automate the process, by all means. Kick out useless employees. If you are a business and you can automate the process and make the business function smoother, do it. Only morons will keep human employees there because it's the morally right thing to do. Fuck that. Automate your shit.
Make it more AI streamlined and kind of cut out any form of conversation with a real human. That is also a potential possibility. And regardless of your stance on that, that can lead to a lot of issues because let's be honest, it's Crunchyroll and they can always find a way to
Right Stuff got taken over and I got sent fucking disc sleeves from them instead of discs in a case. God damn. That is so cheap.
Fuck something up, and if they're gonna fuck something up, they're gonna fuck it up. And so that's probably what's gonna happen if you want my honest opinion on this situation. So I think in general, the removal of a lot of people in these different departments, I think indicates a massive canary in a coal mine. For instance, the fact that there is layoffs within HR, I think is also a big deal because HR is a big department that's kind of important talking with people within like the company. And if they're
no, wrong. HR is not a big department that's about tying to people. No. HR is the Karen department. HR is the department that only exists to give fat white bitches a job, lording their power over people that actually deserve and love their jobs, and putting forth all sorts of social and agenda-driven bullshit to make them feel like they're doing something to be worth the amount of money it takes to employ them. HR is not an important department. HR is the most useless department in 99% of businesses. HR is where you go when you make a good joke. Exactly.
Being removed, so to speak, there is definitely some trouble in paradise within the company, and I am curious what's going on for individuals within HR to be removed. Now, at this given time, we cannot necessarily say this is a bad or a good thing, because we don't know necessarily who was completely fired. The only person we know who was fired was this individual right here that went to LinkedIn to comment on the situation, which is what broke this news story to begin with. And this is what they had to say. Today, I was impacted by mass layoffs at Crunchyroll. To be honest, this one hits really hard. I was also part of the Disney layoffs about a year ago.
Ha ha! Also part of the Disney layoffs about a year ago. So, we're seeing a trend of these HR bimbos losing their jobs because HR is a fucking joke. I don't know that she did HR at Disney. She says the Disney lawsuits. But I'm going to assume this broad was HR at Disney as well. She gets bounced from Disney, goes to Crunchyroll, bounced from Crunchyroll. Get fucked. You don't need, you don't deserve the job. HR is worthless.
So this is the second time in a short period that my career has been suddenly reset. I'm a lead product designer with 10 plus years of experience, and I've worked across products and campaigns for companies like Disney, Apple, Amazon, T-Mobile, plus Walgreens at...
It's an impressive resume. Why so many? Like, lead product designer. That sounds prestigious. Sounds prestigious. What the fuck's it mean? What the fuck's it mean?
Razorfish, and most recently, Crunchyroll. I care deeply about storytelling, thoughtful product experiences, and building things that actually resonate with people.
No, you don't, because you're a woman working in these industries that are mostly male-dominated.
I'm going to be very transparent. I don't have family support or a home to fall back on, so finding my next role soon is very important for me. If your team is hiring, or if you know someone who is, I would truly appreciate a connection, referral, or even a repost. It would mean a lot to me. Now, obviously, this is pretty sad. Someone lost their job.
It's not. No, it's not. I'm not going to pretend it is. Chibi's still, and look, I get it. I get why he does it. He's a nice guy. Chibi's a nice guy. I get why he would do this whole, like, oh, it's very sad. Nope, fuck him. We want to send a message, send the message loud. We don't fucking care. We don't. None of this, like, trying to softball it with, oh, this is a sad situation. Nope, don't care. You work for a shitty company in a shitty position, and you get what you pay for.
Job, and they're worrying about, you know, potentially having money to be able to support their family, their home, living situation. Definitely a scary situation. I definitely feel bad for this individual losing their job. But I do want to point a few things out, okay? We don't know the reason why this...
Can you interview him someday? I've tried to get Chibi on the show. He's never responded to my message, so it is what it is. Runaway Vagabond with a 5-banger. I think they're just doing an overhaul. Get rid of useless. I'd pay extra if they used to remove localizers. If Crunchyroll got rid of localizers, maybe I'd give them a benefit of the doubt. Maybe I'd give them a fair and honest shake if they got rid of localizers. Absolutely. But yeah, I think the same thing. I think they're going through an overhaul. And I love the fact that, you know, all these people that are part of the process of why anime has gotten worse over the last 10 years or so are losing their jobs. It makes me feel good and happy on my inside feely parts. Just looked up lead product designer. Pretty much pointless position. Bingo, bango, bongo. Not surprised at all. Shout out, Vagabond. Thank you for the 5-banger. Absolutely. Get rid of the useless.
Individual in particular was laid off. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't really are trying to understand.
Well, so you say 10 years, that many jobs, red flag. Not necessarily. Because again, she says she's a lead product designer. That's a worthless job. So let's say she was a lead product designer for Disney, and then Disney cuts that, cuts that position. And then she's lead product designer for Apple. And then Apple cuts that because it's useless. And then Amazon cuts it. Then T-Mobile, Walgreens, Razorfish. Like, she keeps getting a job in this useless role that is very obviously being automated out. Because she has no actual discernible skill.
Is that, for all we know, this individual could be one of the reasons to why a lot of...
Yes, they used to, many, many, many years ago, hire fan subbers. Many yero's ago. Crunchyroll's not been like that for a very, very long time.
The people that, you know, had the merger with Right Stuff to Crunchyroll didn't get their orders. Why a lot of those orders, you know, the promises were, you know, not kept and canceled. This person could be one of the individuals responsible for that. This person could also be responsible from other issues going on within Crunchyroll for all we know. I mean, I would like to point out that this person was working at Disney, Apple, and Amazon. And Disney is a big indicator here. The fact that they were laid off from Disney about a year ago, and
the Japanese should localize it themselves and get English voice actors. Well, here's the dealio. I don't know how it works in the anime industry. It could be totally different. So I'm just going strictly off the gaming industry for this part. That's what some Japanese gaming companies do, and it's no better. I know Capcom does it this way, and I know Square Enix does it this way. Capcom and Square Enix of Japan have an in-house localization team. And that in-house localization team, they still have Westerners doing the localizations. So you still get the same agenda-driven, DEI-filled slop that you would get if it was done here in the West, because they hire those same Westerners to just move to Japan and be part of the in-house localization teams. So yeah, I don't know if anime has anything similar, but in gaming, Capcom and Square Enix, that is literally how they do it.
It's one big thing. Disney has been really trying to restructure and try to understand that going after a modern audience is not the way. It's not something that people want. It doesn't sell movies. People are tired of it. And so this individual most likely was let off around that exact same time, where Disney is trying to restructure itself and move away from that type of situation within their company. And this person going into Crunchyroll kind of, the timeline syncs up a lot with what's been happening in anime, and especially what's been happening with Crunchyroll as of late. I'm not saying this person is a part of those issues that's like playing Disney or whatever, but there is some correlation there. And I feel like that is something that does need to be talked about.
Vagabond is exactly correct. These are job leftovers from COVID. They needed more manpower because more people were using the processes and whatnot, and then now that things have slowed down, they can't keep up. Exactly.
That this person in general could maybe be a part of some of the issues that has been happening with some of these different companies. I'm not saying that is 100% true, but it's a possibility. Now, with all that though, Crunchyroll having these mass layoffs, I feel like it's too early to say if it's good or bad. Like,
no, it's good. I mean, Crunchyroll is still going to suck, but people at these companies losing useless jobs is always good. For us. I don't care how it is for Crunchyroll. I don't care if it's good or bad. I don't. But it's good for us.
It's probably bad in general, but I also think it's good that Crunchyroll is getting rid of a lot of people to be able to get rid of maybe some bad actors within their company. Now, for all I know, maybe all these people are getting removed are good actors, and actually what's been trying to keep the company afloat, and now there's only bad actors left. Now, that's a possibility. That's a scary thought. But, I mean, for all we know, we don't know exactly where this is going to lead, but mass layoffs is still something that is a pretty big red flag. It's a warning sign to whatever's going on, and Crunchyroll has been really hemorrhaging a lot of red flags as of late. Class action lawsuit, raising prices,
it can be more productive if a smaller team instead of massive teams. Well, it's not, it can be more productive. It is more productive. Compare, like, something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which has credits as long as a Marvel movie, to Expedition 33. Like, it is always better to have a smaller team.
Free tier, there's definitely
nearly always. There might be a few exceptions, but nearly always
something going on, and anyone saying there isn't is just straight up lying to themselves. So I will leave it at that. Tell me your honest thoughts in the comments below how you feel about this. Do you think this is good or bad news? Be honest. But I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. She out.
Yeah. Excellent video. Excellent video. You love to see it. Anytime bad news about Crunchyroll drops, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy and positive. But we got one more video. Hopefully we can cover this before it's time to pack up the stream. How the hell does this keep happening?
Let's do a follow-up story to the insane story about the Valve lawsuit.
We covered the Valve lawsuit last week on stream. Hypno is now done, or maybe it was earlier this week. Either way, Hypno has done a second video covering some updates to it. Now, I've intentionally stayed away from this video because I wanted to react to it on stream, so I don't know what the update is. This dropped, 4 hours ago. So, yeah. Obviously, I want to make sure Hypno gets the views and whatnot, so in case you guys haven't watched it, I want you to watch Hypno's version. So, there's the link. But if you've already seen it and whatnot, this has been me learning about the update on the Steam stuff.
They've been receiving on multiple different fronts all across the globe. Valve is being sued in the UK. Valve is being sued by the United States government. Valve is being sued by their own home state of Seattle. And Valve is also being sued by New York State, by Attorney General Letitia James. Now, everybody's trying to...
Because they hate private companies, bro. They want all companies to be public. They want boards to be able to come in and alter and radically change these companies. They hate successful private enterprise.
Claim that Valve is either a monopoly or they essentially encourage gambling or they actually do gambling or whatever the case may be.
Valve is not a monopoly, by the way. Having the best product on the market so everybody chooses it is not the same as having a monopoly.
Well, apparently Valve is starting to fight back against all this nonsense coming from people like Letitia James and whatnot, because they're going to, right? This is not the first time that Valve has fought against these lawsuits. I remember saying that quite a bit ago in previous videos, but they have experience fighting this kind of stuff, and they're going to continue to do so. So
Such a great intro for a guy that doesn't watch anime because he's a manga only sort of dude.
Let's talk about this nonsense and let's see their response to Letitia James, because it actually is pretty.
His intro goes from cool to gay so quick.
Insane. First, we're going to start off with this article kind of explaining what exactly they consider to be their microtransactions. And it's so funny to see these companies always make up these weird explanations as to what the microtransactions actually are, but still we're gonna talk about it. So according to PC Gamer, Valve says New York Attorney General's violent video game fear-mongering is a distraction and a mischaracterization that we've all heard before. The New York Attorney General seems to be trying to stir up fears about violent video games as the state pursues legal action against Valve, but Valve is not having it. Good.
Takes you back to them post-Columbine days, don't it, boys? Tipper Gore.
Good. I hope Valve fights this shit tooth and nail, because these kind of people like Letitia James are using lawfare as a means to push their own political activism. They do it all the time. This won't be the last time they do it, guaranteed. So New York's lawsuit accuses Valve of violating its gambling laws through loot boxes, which it claims enables gambling by enticing users to pay for a chance to win a rare virtual item of significant monetary value. It further alleges that Valve has made billions of dollars luring its users, many of whom are
luring its users. They use such evil language, right? They use language that makes things like, oh man, what a evil, predatory, anti-consumer company. When Valve is probably one of the most consumer-friendly companies left in the world today.
Teenagers or younger to engage in gambling in the hopes of winning expensive virtual items that they could cash in on, and says the lawsuit that they seek to permanently stop Valve from continuing to promote illegal gambling in its games and to pay disgorgement and fine.
It only has significant monetary value because people place value on the items, not Valve. Bingo, bango, bongo. It is incredibly subjective, and the people are the ones putting the value. Exactly. If someone paints a picture and someone else wants to buy it for $500, but another person wants to buy it for $700, those people are the ones putting the value, not the individual that made the painting.
Now, that's all pretty straightforward, obviously, but here's where it gets interesting. According to this, the press release announcing the lawsuit then went on to say, completely out of nowhere, that although this case is about illegal gambling, it's important to note that Valve's promotion of games that glorify violence and guns help fuel the dangerous epidemic of gun violence.
Look, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But I'm pretty sure the American government and media's promotion of trannies glorify violence and guns, considering how many of them have shot up schools as of late. If you had to place a bet on which one caused more violence, Steam or trans people, which one you putting the money on? Sorry, we can't be talking about gambling. We could get sued by Letitia James for that.
Particularly among young gamers who can become numb to the grave violence before their brains are fully developed. So she is trying to literally bring back like the 90s, bro. She's trying to bring back this whole conversation about video games cause violence. And
yeah, when I talk about bringing back the 90s, this isn't what I mean. I just mean I want our games and movies to be good again.
You're always going to have that politician that tries to go this route anytime the election season is coming up and they have to justify why they're in office. They always come up with this bullshit violent video games cause violence narrative that has been disproven by damn near every study that's ever been done on this subject. And they continue to ignore it and continue to peddle it because this is what they do, right? It's always about stretching the truth or at the very least misrepresenting information. So obviously the statement's completely irrelevant to the entire thing, which is supposed to be about gambling. But more importantly, it's also obviously been unsupported. Now that we know all of this, let's talk.
Not only has it been unsupported, it has been outright debunked. I saw if you guys said this in the comments. There have been multiple studies about whether or not video games cause violence. Not only have they been debunked that video games cause violence, the studies actually seem to show that they mitigate violence, that they reduce violent actions. So get the fuck out of here. Like, Matt Walsh wants to be a staunch conservative right-wing dude, and he's out here agreeing with Letitia James, who Zax is correct, never leers.
About what's really going on. Valve seized on that particular point in its response. They said, in addition, though, although this case is about mystery boxes, we feel the need to address comments made by the NYAG about games, real-world violence, and children. According to Valve, they said that those extraneous comments are a distraction and a mischaracterization we've all heard before. Numerous studies throughout the years have concluded that there is no link between media, movies, TV, books, comics, music, and games, and real-world violence. Indeed, many studies highlight the beneficial impact.
You see, you don't need me to tell y'all. Valve themselves are saying it.
Of the games to their particular users. Now, what I want to do is go into their actual response because, oh my God, is it legendary. They decided to respond to everything officially on Steam itself. You guys can go actually read this on Steam if you have it, but we're going to look at some screen caps going over everything. So here's what it says about the new...
Bro. Steam putting out just an official, like, on their main platform, basically saying, get fucked, New York. I saw people earlier when we were covering the New York stuff, like the political stuff, being like, oh, we live in the worst timeline. No, I disagree. I think we live in the best timeline. I think we live in the best timeline. Because I get there's a lot of bad shit that happens. But we live in fucking Looney Tune world. And I love it. There's always shit going down, son. Never a lack of entertainment.
New York Attorney General lawsuit against Valve. Dear New York customers of Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, and Team Fortress 2, you may have seen the New York Attorney General recently filed a lawsuit against Valve claiming mystery boxes like crates, cases, and chests in some of our games violate New York gambling laws. We don't believe that they do, and we're disappointed to see the New York Attorney General make that claim after working to educate them about our virtual items and mystery boxes since they first reached out to us in early 2023. We rarely talk about litigation, but we felt we should explain this situation to you. This is where it gets good, by the way, so listen up.
If media was responsible for people's actions, wouldn't women's romance novels encourage men to abuse women? I don't need a woman's romance novel to encourage me to abuse women. Okay, I can do that on my own.
Shared with the New York Attorney General that these type of boxes in our games are widely used, not just in video games, but in the tangible world as well, where generations have grown up opening baseball card packs and blind boxes in bags, and then trading and selling the items they receive. On the physical side, popular products used in this way include baseball cards, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and Labubu. And in the game space, digital packs, similar to our boxes, date back to 2004, are in widespread use. Players don't have to open mystery boxes to play Valve games. In fact, most of you don't open any boxes at all and just play the games because the items in the boxes are purely cosmetic. There is no disadvantage to a player not spending money. Now,
bingo, bango, bongo. By the way, this is how it should always be. I know this has nothing to do with the lawsuit, just in general. This is my personal... There should be no such thing as pay to win. Pay to win is bullshit. Everything should be cosmetic. You want to have microtransactions? I actually don't fucking care as long as they're cosmetic only. Also, I mean, we have to get into whether how they should be priced and what is and isn't fair in terms of pricing and whatnot. But as a general rule, cosmetic only.
I said this yesterday in my other video where I particularly said that I don't buy the loot boxes in Counter-Strike. I don't buy the loot boxes in Team Fortress. I know that there is a huge...
I don't know Hypno plays Team Fortress. I can guarantee you guys. I know for a fact Hypno plays Counter-Strike. How do I know Hypno plays Counter-Strike? Because he's always trying to get us to play Counter-Strike with him. And now I never played Counter-Strike, so I can't really say one way or the other. But I can say, well, I can definitely say the blacks don't like it. Caden and Treyas refused to even attempt to play Counter-Strike with Hypno. They too worried he's too good.
Huge a group of people that do. And I know that it is considered to be pretty extreme in terms of how much money they can actually go for. I know all of this, okay? And I don't like loot boxes. I don't like any of this shit. But at the end of the day, these games are free to play. That's the strategy they decided to go with Valve and Counter-Strike and all these other video games that they used to charge money for. So now that they're free to play, they got to monetize somehow, some way. And if you are partaking in this system, you're opening yourself up to it. All you got to do is just not buy the fucking box. Now, I know there's some people that are like, well, I get it. You know, like some people have a personality that is very addicted to gambling. And if that's the case, then they need help. Like they don't need a lawsuit. They need help. At the end of the day, Valve has been doing this for a long time. And if you're going to have a problem with it now, I am willing to have the conversation about loot boxes being bad, obviously. But I cannot think that you're doing it in good faith because they've been doing it for fucking decades, bro.
I mean, not only have they been doing it for decades, I can't think it's being done in good faith because it's being done by Letitia James. I don't know that Letitia James has ever done anything in good faith. I don't even know this bitch ever given head in good faith.
Bro, they've been doing it for such a long time that now all of a sudden you want to come after them? And then you threw in the whole Valve supports violence because of violence video games. What the hell does that have to do with gambling in this lawsuit? It has nothing to do with it. You decided to throw it in there just for the hell of it, you know? So anyway, in the process of cooperating with the New York Attorney General's investigation, we shared within our efforts over many years to shut down accounts that were found to be using Valve's game items on gambling sites in violation of the Steam subscriber agreement.
And there it is. That should be the nail in the coffin right there. If part of the subscriber agreement is not to be using these items on third-party gambling sites or whatnot, and it's being done anyway, at that point, that is a violation of the TOS. Steam has the go-ahead to ban those accounts, but Steam also can't control that. Like, this is a blatant attempt to... Steam is obviously doing everything within their power to mitigate that sort of behavior because it is against the rules. People are always going to try and break the law and get away with shit. You can't just sue Steam and get rid of loot boxes and think that that's going to magically fix everything. This is just giving up more of our freedoms for government control, from both a business standpoint and at the individual level. Because at the individual level, you get to choose whether you participate in the loot box system or not. At the business level, they get to choose whether or not to implement this stuff, and that is their right to do so. But by the government coming in with this lawsuit, they are doing everything they can to take away the concept of choice.
We also shared with him our efforts to combat fraud and theft of user items.
All black women in power have issues. Example, Maxine Walters, Sheila Jackson Lee, etc. Agreed, Vagabond. Absolutely agreed.
And our extraordinary measures to stop gambling sites from taking advantage of Steam accounts and Valve game items. Valve does not cooperate with gambling sites. To date, we've locked over 1 million Steam accounts. They were being misused by third parties in connection with gambling, fraud, and theft. We've also shipped features like trade reversal and trade cooldown to discourage gambling sites' ability to operate and protect Steam users from fraud. And we forbid any gambling-related business to participate in or sponsor tournaments from our games. So this bit of information here.
So what more can they do? Like what more could Steam do and could Valve do to mitigate this to appease New York? Nothing. Literally nothing. I cannot think of any other action Steam can do that would appease New York minus bow and kowtow to the state and get rid of this concept as a whole.
Is really important because this is how they're going to fight back, right? This is how they're going to fight back against Letitia James, and her bullshit claims about how Steam is all for gambling and they advocate for it and they're all for this nonsense. It's pretty clear that they're not. They've pushed against the actual gambling websites and they pushed against the fraud and the theft, and they have proof to back it up. That's how they won their previous lawsuits. Then, here's the best part. We have serious concerns with many of the alterations that the New York Attorney General claims are necessary to make our games. First, the New York Attorney General seems to believe that boxes and their contents should not be transferable. They appear to assume digital mystery boxes and items in our games are different from tangible items like baseball card packs, which contain random cards, and to take issue with the fact that users have the ability to transfer the items they have received through Steam trading or user-to-user sales on the community market. We think the transferability of a digital item is good for consumers. It gives the user the ability to sell or trade an old or unwanted item for something else. In the
Fractal Mage, OBS is not viewer unfriendly. If OBS was viewer unfriendly, it wouldn't be the #1 used stream tool amongst streamers the world over. It's gotta be a you issue, because nobody else in here seems to be having any issues. Sorry, man. Like, it sucks you're having viewer issues, and I'm sorry to hear that, but it's not an OBS issue.
Same way an owner can sell or trade a tangible item like a Pokemon or baseball card. The New York Attorney General proposes to take away users' ability to transfer the digital items from Valve games. Transferability is a right that we believe should not be taken away, and we refuse to do that. Fucking base, bro. Oh my God.
Like, why go after Valve and not the mobile games? Go after Overwatch or any game that practices freemium transactions. Well, because Valve is a private company that's consumer friendly. That's the real reason. Valve is a private company that's consumer friendly that has not bowed and kowtowed to the wishes of the state in most instances. This is literally nothing but a power play. Don't look for any financial logic or anything like that in this whatsoever. It is purely a power play.
Absolutely base. You know, Valve has made some mistakes in the past, but there's one thing that Valve is serious about, and that's protecting your privacy and also protecting your right as a consumer. It's definitely something that they've openly advocated for, and they're not perfect on it. They've made some mistakes. We've called out those mistakes. But when they're right, my God, are they fucking right, bro? That is based as fuck.
No, it is. Again, Fractal Mage, you're objectively wrong. You're blaming something that's not the cause. Great for the streamer, terrible for the viewers when it constantly lags, but OBS doesn't constantly lag. I've been watching my ping times this entire time. Fully in the green, over 6,000 kilobits per second, actually over 6,200 kilobytes per second, if I'm being honest. I mean, again, you say it only happens with my streams. Hypno uses OBS when he streams. If you don't have these issues with Hypno, but you do me, for example, that means it might be something on my end, fair enough, but it's not OBS. Like, you're objectively wrong about OBS being bad for the viewer, because every streamer uses it. So if you don't have issues with every other streamer, then that's not the case.
But it gets even better, guys. You want to know what the real reason for this lawsuit is? You want to know what this is really all about? I'm going to show you exactly what this is really all about. This is page 2 to the lawsuit, and this is where it gets really juicy. The New York Attorney General has also proposed to gather additional information beyond what we normally collect in the course of processing payments about each game user on the off chance someone in New York was being...
So maybe it's even worse than I thought. I was saying this was a power play. And to be fair, it still could be, and it still likely is. But this is also more removal of internet anonymity and a strong arm for users to give up their data.
Anonymous, basically, their location to appear outside of New York, such as by using a VPN. This would have involved implementing invasive technologies for every user worldwide. Similarly, the New York Attorney General demanded that Valve collect more personal data about our users to do additional age verification.
They are trying to strong-arm Valve into removing our freedom of anonymity, our security, and Valve ain't having it. Hey, console fanboys, how's Sony treating you in this regard? How's Microsoft treating you in this regard? All I'm saying is that this is based. full exposure from Valve.
Even though most payment methods used by New York Steam users already have age verification built in. Valve knows that our users care about the security of their personal information, and we believe it's in our best interest and their interest to only collect the information necessary to operate the business and comply with law. So I love it. You know why I love this is because the New York Attorney General tried to throw in the little jab about Valve supporting violence, basically, by promoting violent video games. And this is Valve essentially jabbing back and saying, well, since we're telling the truth about each other and you're lying about me, let me tell you the truth about what you're actually looking for.
Dude. Valve and Nick Shirley exposing the government one level of corruption at a time. Like, Nick Shirley out there talking about Somalians. Valve over here saying, get fucked New York, you all frauds.
You're looking for a way to essentially work around a VPN and use us to do so. You want to know, for some odd reason, why somebody is using a VPN in New York. Why would you want to know that, right? What other reason do you want to know that other than you have some...
I want someone to make that meme. Like that, the Terminator arm meme. Valve, Nick Shirley, exposing government fraud. Someone do that, please.
Really malicious shit that you have in mind in order to try to utilize, and you're trying to get Valve to give you the information. Not only that, you also want more personal data for what? Age verification? Valve already has age verification built.
You know I'm right, Leon. Yeah, I said it first. Like, I literally said what you're saying like 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Into the system already. So what are we doing here? So then he says, we respect New York's right to determine the laws governing behavior in the state. We will, of course, comply if the New York legislature passes laws governing mystery boxes, something it has not done, despite considering the issue a few times. Such laws will be the result of a public process, presumably with input from the industry and New York gamers. The type of commitments the NYAG demanded from Valve went far beyond what existing New York law requires, and even beyond New York itself. It may have been easier and cheaper for Valve to make a deal with the New York Attorney General, but we believe this type of deal would be to satisfy the New York Attorney General would have been bad for users and other game developers. And
customer first, baby. It's like, yeah, we could bow and kowtow to New York, but that'd be bad for you, our actual paying fucking customers. That's how you do it, and that's why they hate Steam. That's why they hate Valve. They hate that Valve is a private company that doesn't have to answer to shareholders, doesn't have to answer to any of the bullshit that would allow them to, again, where a majority vote could get them to just barrel, bend over, and take the sandpaper cock of the state.
Impacted our ability to innovate in game design. So they're not making a deal. They're not making a deal. I absolutely fucking love this. They're not making a deal. They said that they'd rather fight this instead of making a deal. That is incredible. By the way, isn't New York the state that is trying to not have you need an ID in order to vote? So
one of a few, yes.
Oh, you mean to tell me you don't need an ID to vote, but you need an ID? You need to give up your ID in order to play video games online? Like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? In addition, although this is a case about mystery boxes, we feel the need to address comments made by the New York Attorney General about games, real-world violence, etc. And ultimately, a court will decide whose position, ours, or the New York Attorney General's, is correct. In the meantime, we wanted to make sure you were aware of the potential impact to users in New York and elsewhere. Boys, this is insane, man. Crazy, crazy stuff. So listen, I'll say this, man. I'm happy that Valve has decided to fight this, okay? I think that's fantastic. Valve has decided to fight this. Valve is not going to bend the knee and settle. And that's a little bit shocking to me. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, it's not shocking to me at all. Like, look, I get that people claim Valve bends the knees and settles. They've done it once, and it was for the payment processor stuff. We broke down yesterday and in the video I posted today about how there really isn't an option with payment processors. Payment processors are, in fact, more powerful than governments. But that's really the only times Valve has bent the knee. Juna Main with a 2-banger. Thank you so much, homie. It's just a heart that says thanks. I appreciate you. Yeah, so it's not surprising to me. Valve has a history of not bending the knee. Every now and again, something's going to happen, and it sucks, so we can adjust and assess those situations when they arise. But it's not surprising to me that Valve is not bending the knee on this one.
Because most of these cases don't see the inside of a courtroom. but it looks like Valve is 100% going to go there. So I'm excited. Hopefully they can continue to fight this for as long as they possibly can. But keep in mind, Valve is currently fighting this lawsuit, the Seattle lawsuit, the United States lawsuit, and also the UK lawsuit. And
I don't think the UK lawsuit. I think Hypno's wrong, and maybe I'm wrong. One of us is wrong. You guys might know in the comments. Pretty sure Valve did win the UK lawsuit already. I think they won the UK lawsuit already, but maybe I'm wrong.
And chances are, I think there's another one about copyrighted music, that they have a lawsuit going after them as well for copyrighted music. All of this seems very coordinated. It seems highly suspicious. It's all happening at once. But it is what it is at this point. If anybody's going to be able to fight this, it's Gabe, man. Okay, if you guys forgot who Gabe is, he is a legend. He is a legend.
Gabe is king! Fractal Mage says they won. So yeah, I thought so as well. I'm pretty sure they won the UK lawsuit already.
For a reason. Let me remind you.
New York City is pulling this shit because James trying to save favor to losing against Trump. I don't know if that's it. I think there's probably other stuff at work.
Before I end this video, that the
yes, they could Ghost about how I explained how in the video I dropped today and in yesterday's stream.
The only one who can fight this is Gaben himself. He's the only one that can fight this, man. He's gonna fight this from his yacht, his $500 million yacht, with a bunch of steam machines surrounding him. He's the only one that's going to fight this. He's going to plug himself into the Matrix and fight it, man. No, but seriously, this is pretty amazing. This is pretty amazing. So we'll see what ends up happening with this.
Dude, Gabe Newell is like, he is the anti-Epstein. Gabe Newell is, he is the reverse billionaire, right? That could be an anime. Gabe versus Epstein. Dude, I would absolutely watch a Gabe Newell versus Jeffrey Epstein anime.
I found their response to be a very good response. I found their response to be a very professional response. And it's exactly the kind of response that needed to happen to ensure that, I guess, New York-based gamers feel that Valve has their best interest at heart. Even though, listen, no company has your full best interest at heart. But at the very minimum, what Valve has always been has been pro-consumer to the best of their ability within reason, obviously, because no corporation is 100% pro-consumer. But if I had to decide one corporation that actually was above all others, it would be Valve.
Everything Hypno just said, I implicitly agree with. Like, I can't really add much to it. I've been adding everything I can up to this point because I know what reaction is. But Hypno is just objectively correct right there.
At the end of the day. So hopefully they can continue to fight this. We'll follow up with this with any information we have. And Letitia James, hopefully she gets felted in the court of law. Because if not, it's going to set a really bad precedent for the rest of the world. Especially if she wants VPN information and all that other nonsense. Bro, what does that have to do with gambling? Anyway, thank you guys so much again. And make sure to comment. Otherwise, your view's not going to count. I'm going to be sad.
Excellent video. Excellent video from my boy Hypno. Make sure I'm dropping the link again. Give him a like. Give him a follow. Valve, like I said, the anti-Epstein. One of the last bastions of true pro-consumerism in the marketplace today. Not just for gaming. Just like businesses in general. You'll love to see it. The feltoning will continue until morale improves. Letitia James can get fucked. New York can get fucked. This has nothing to do with Mom Donnie, but Mom Donnie can get fucked. And we out. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here. Like I said, I can only go for until about 3:30 my time. I got shit to do today, but I will be on Hold My DualShock later tonight at about 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then after that, me and Hypno will be playing Reanimal late tonight. I'll be doing that on my gaming channel, his gaming channel. So if you guys aren't subbed to Glitch in Paradise, I haven't been doing a whole lot with it lately because I haven't been doing a lot of, live stream gaming. A lot of my gaming has been downtime gaming. I'm bringing it back. I'm gonna be doing it more. So if you've not checked out my gaming channel, Glitch in Paradise, please do so. And I will see you guys tonight for me and Hypno's Reanimal stream. I'll see you for Hold My DualShock. Thank you to those of you that donated. Truly appreciated. It means the world to me. Let's get a raid going real quick. Let me see who's live. Let's get a raid going. Let's see. Let's see, live. Redirect. And we'll raid Kata. Kata's raided me a few times. We'll raid Kata. Alright, raiding the Foot Goblin. Make sure to tell him Vital Idol raid. Catch you later, crew. Thank you so much. It's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.